Welcome to Memorial Stadium in Owen Field. This is Oklahoma football.
Welcome to the campus of the University of Oklahoma in Norman, Oklahoma. College football on Fox Sports Net and inside Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. All the seats are sold once again as the University of Oklahoma will host the UTEP Miners. The Miners at 1-1. The Sooners ranked number 2 in the nation at 2-0. Hi everyone, Bill Land along with Dean Blevins and Gary Reasons. Glad to have you with us here tonight in Norman. The Sooners roll in ranked number 2, 2-0. Been a little sketchy at times, but not everybody can say they're 2-0, Dean, but I know Bob Stoops thinks they got a lot of things to work on.
Well, Bill, this is a team that I think they felt before the season had a chance to be a championship caliber team. I don't think you're ready to write them off, certainly after 2 games, but a lot of improvement needs to be made, and tonight is a good night to do it. I think that they plan to play a lot of people, and getting experience is really important, and you also think that by playing a lot of people, you probably don't get nicked up very much.
Well, certainly OU fans think it's an easy night, and you can understand why. UTEP got hammered by Kentucky by 60. Coaches don't take days off, though, Gary, and they remember a UTEP team from a couple years ago.
Well, Gary North prepares his team very well. The Miners, they came in here 2 years ago ready to play. They amassed 372 yards of offense on their Sooners bunch, and they were in this ball game up until the third quarter. They gave up 7 turnovers in that game, and I know he's got his team focused. If they play well and they don't turn over the ball, they may be productive. You never know. They may sneak something out here.
Well, when we talk about Oklahoma offensively, Nate Hibble is the starting quarterback once again with a season-ending injury to Jason White. Certainly some pressure on him, but if things are going to happen offensively, that line's got to get its act together, and Jamal Brown could be a key factor.
Well, I think so, Bill. I think you're right, Bill. I think that that's where it all starts. Jamal Brown, 6'5", 300, a great athlete, whirls of potential, and he's just learning. He's sort of like a lot of this Sooner club, just needs experience. Now, for Oklahoma to really be a dynamic team, I think their defense will be there. I think their kicking game will be improved, but it has to be the offense, and they have to find balance. And if they do, it starts up front. They have to run well, and tonight's a good night to see if that happens. And if that does happen, that gives this guy a chance. Nate Hibble is the replacement, yet he started a majority of the games the past couple of years. Lots of potential. Bill, he needs to live up to that potential, and he is improved.
He certainly is the man here tonight. Now, when you think of UTEP and what they've got to face against Oklahoma, there's a terrific speed of that Sooner defense that is obviously a trademark of this team.
Well, Bob Stoops came into this program. The one thing he decided to do is recruit speed all around the field, and particularly on defense. They've got guys that out there can just flat fly. Up front, their defensive linemen can run, their linebackers can run, their secondary runs real well. I think the man in the middle who has to play very well is Teddy Lehman. He's moved over to that weak linebacker spot vacated by Rocky Kalmus. He's played very well. Overall, Teddy Lehman, he had 14 tackles in the opener. The speed in their secondary is tremendous, and up front, if they play well like that all year long, I think Bob Stoops is going to be proud of these guys.
All right, Bob Stoops is the guy to handle it. He was certainly not overall pleased with the Alabama performance, but he said a win is a win, and we will get better. You can count on it tonight. The Sooners and the Miners coming up next. Stay with us. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium for College Football Saturday to continue in Norman, Oklahoma. Coming out here as the Sooners at 2-0 and fresh off the victory over Alabama, 37-27. 75,000 plus were here for that victory. And on the other side, the UTEP Miners coming off the loss to Kentucky. Well, you've certainly caught the gang up top. What about down below? Zach Klein has got sideline duty tonight and more on the quarterback situation. Zach?
All right, Bill, thank you very much. At his weekly media conference on Tuesday, head coach Bob Stoops said he wanted Nate Hibble to play every snap tonight if possible. He did not want to jeopardize the redshirt status of Paul Thompson. He felt that way on Tuesday, felt that way on Wednesday, but 48 hours ago on Thursday, offensive coordinator Chuck Long made a phone call with Paul Thompson's dad, Mark. The two of them discussed if things got out of hand tonight, whether or not Paul would be playing tonight. They said, yeah, he's got plenty of confidence. All he needs is a little experience. So if need be, Paul will play tonight. A week ago, Bill, against Alabama, Paul Thompson not even listed on the flip chart. Tonight, he will see action against UTEP. Let's send it back to you upstairs.
All right, and he is a talented player and an interesting young man. It will be interesting to see how he fares tonight, and hopefully the Sooners are feeling that they can establish a good lead and get some things accomplished and get a lot of playing time for people. Bob Stoops also mentioned earlier in the week when he was thinking of not playing Thompson, he said, we've got to get Nate Hibble more snaps now that he is the guy. And I think that's kind of interesting as well, Dean. Even though he's a senior and he has played quite a bit, he's anything but a wily veteran.
Well, the risk there, Bill, is of injury, and obviously this day and age, when you see blitzers every game, that can be an issue. And we'll talk about Brent Rawls because he's a part of this matter.
All right, the ball comes off on Oklahoma on the kickoff and across the 20 and short of the 30-yard line on the tackle, and that's where Oklahoma will take over as Antonio Perkins on the return, and the Sooners will come out on offense to start things here tonight. And final words for Nate Hibble as he heads the offense up. 6'4", 220 senior from Hazelhurst, Georgia. And there'll be a slight delay. There was a penalty flag thrown on the 45-yard line of UTEP on the kickoff. So we'll get that sorted out here as you take a look at our officials here tonight.
Illegal formation on the kicking team. There must be 4 players on each side of the kicker, and there were not. That's a 5-yard penalty. We'll re-kick.
Well, you heard it, so they'll re-kick, and Oklahoma will get the opportunity to break something big here today.
Well, I've heard of a pre-snap penalty, Gary. That's a pre-game penalty.
Well, that's on the coach. I tell you, if they're lined up incorrectly on the kickoff, there's no doubt that that's a coaching error, but I don't really know what happened on that play, but that's just one thing that can go wrong for this team starting out the football game. And take a look at the weather here, Bill.
Yeah, beautiful for the moment at 82 degrees and 69% humidity. They have called for some scattered thunderstorms, and they've been throughout the area, and you can see the menacing skies. Hopefully they'll stay away and avoid Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. As UTEP now ready to kick it off. Keith Robinson is the kicker as the Sooner students are into it. Perkins again, the 30. An ankle grab near the 43-yard line. Perkins on the return, and Oklahoma much better field position following the penalty. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Nate Hibble and the Oklahoma Sooners. On offense, Hibble 53% this year with 256 yards passing, hitting 17 of 32. Up front, Sims, Davis, Carter, Skinner, and Brown that Dean talked about. And the backs and receivers, Griffin, Savage, Fagan, Clayton, and Smith, all are outstanding. And on the first down, it is Quentin Griffin. Picks up a yard to the 44-yard line. Brought down there by Mark Dowdy.
Well, Oklahoma expected to run a lot of two-back tonight, try to run a little power football. That was two-back in the sense that Gary, it was a tight end back there. That was Trent Smith.
Yeah, Lance Donnelly actually turned the corner real well and took out the linebacker coming across. And the Sooners picked up just a couple 1 yard there on first down. But
was a nice
power.
block,
It was a good block inside.
2nd and 9. Hibble. Complete to the 30, the 25. Savage. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
The Gary North defense is going to play zone coverage a lot of the time tonight. They know that the speed is in the favor of the Oklahoma Sooners. They were in 2 deep zone coverage, and Savage does a nice job moving in on the safety and getting behind the corner where the void area is. You can take a look out here. He's going to find a way to get down inside. I'm sorry, going the opposite way. You see the safety in the middle of the field, and he just doesn't make the tackle. The safety comes over, does not convert, and Savage takes it to the distance.
Savage with the TD, and DiCarlo with the point after, and Oklahoma on the board. 2 offensive plays, and Savage with a touchdown on his 7th reception of the year. Antoine, a senior from Albany, Georgia. And Oklahoma lights him up early, and UTEP, after giving up 77 to Kentucky, is saying, oh no, not again.
Well, this is exactly what Oklahoma wants to do. They want to get the ball downfield, a vertical game, or just a ball that, Gary, is not a hitch or a slant or something short. They feel they've got to do that so they can get the defense off of them a little bit.
Well, look at the protection here. Hibble, he's in the pocket, no problem there. And then just a good route and good run by Savage, converting a play down the field. Gives this offense a lot of confidence. 2 plays out in the box and 7 points on the board.
There's the scoring drive with a 56-yard TD pass to Antoine Savage, and now Oklahoma will come out and kick it back as the Sooners up 7-0.
Bill, that's an interesting play in the sense that that's the identical play with the same players. Antoine Savage and Hibble threw a ball similar to that last week against Alabama that could have led to points, and it was dropped by Savage.
Confidence builder there as well. Jackson takes it just inside the 10 for the Miners, straight up the middle and across the 20 to the 25-yard line. Howard Jackson, a sophomore from Freeport, Texas, on the return. And making the tackle, Russell Dennison for the University of Oklahoma. And UTEP will come out offensively for the first time tonight. John Schopper is the quarterback, 6'2", 210. He is a sophomore from San Antonio. Schopper at 46% completion with 3 TDs and 1 interception. The offensive line, Castle, Clayton, Ranioli, and Garcella. And the wide receiver to watch here is Terrence Minor, a senior from Houston Lee with 8 receptions, 122 yards. First and 10 at the 25, and Schopper to throw it. Blocked, nearly picked off, and Oklahoma shows the defensive pressure. Lance Mitchell got the hand up on it from the linebacker slot.
Good-looking player, Bill. One of the guys that has transferred in, he and his buddy Pasha Jackson. And Gary, get the defensive man. Show me.
Here he comes,
blitzing.
right in there. No problem. He makes a good move inside and watch the hand go up. Good coaches tell these guys if they can't get to the quarterback, get your hands up, and that's exactly what happened.
He has great instincts.
Los Angeles, California, and it is 2nd down and 10. Hand off to Jackson. Swarmed at the line, and Teddy Lehman leads the way from the weak side linebacker spot. Makes the tackle at the 27-yard line, a pickup of 2. And let's take a look at the Sooner defensive group with Wilkerson, Harris, Klein, and Jackson. Harris hopefully will not have to go too long tonight, having a bit of an injury problem. They'd like to be able to rest him some. Jackson, Mitchell, and Lehman, the linebackers. You've already seen 2 of those in action making plays. In the secondary, Woolfolk, Everidge, Bassey, and Scrape. 3rd down and 8 at the 27. Schopper. Lehman blitzing. And it is complete out to the 40-yard line and down at the 41 for a first down, where Mitchell makes the tackle on Dirk Dillard, a sophomore from El Paso. Just his 3rd reception of the year for Dillard, and it moves the chains for UTEP.
Bill just out. They're going to rush now. They rush 4 players. And Tommy Harris, you mentioned, he's not in the lineup right now. They've got Lehman Bruder in the defensive tackle spot for him. I think they really want to rest Tommy Harris. He got that growing injury. They don't want him to not aggravate that anymore. They hope that they can get by this ball game without Tommy Harris perhaps stepping on the field.
14-yard pickup, 1st and 10 at the 41 of UTEP.
Yeah, Gary, the thinking there is Tommy Harris had the groin injury early this summer, and you know how those injuries are. If you don't take care of them, they can just nag at you off and on. And so he got into the first couple of games, and particularly against Alabama, was kind of limping around. This is a game that you could probably rest some. Off week next week, Bill, before you come back to South Florida. And he's a guy you're going to have lined up before you come Missouri and Texas time.
Yeah, the schedule really sits up pretty well for Oklahoma. They've had a big challenge. They hopefully get some things done here tonight, and then a week off before they hit South Florida. Schopper's pass is incomplete, intended for Minor. Jackson was out covering on the play. Pasha Jackson, who is from Hayward, California. He and Mitchell, of course, the Californians that have added right away to this team, coming out of the San Francisco City College on a national championship team.
Pasha Jackson is one of those players who's on this defense who they need to perform and perform well. Has been kind of spotty over the first couple of games. That time did a real nice job dropping out to the weak flat. Good coverage and caused an incompletion.
Dime coverage this time for the Sooners. 6 defensive backs.
On a 3rd and 7 at the 44 for the Miners. Schopper got it deflected again at the line.
Nice play. I think that might have been Bassey. Was that Wilkerson? Bassey does a nice job there, guys, coming off that edge.
That was Bassey.
Wilkerson. Yeah. You know what? He's feeling the game a lot better. He has a lot of improvement to do. Of course, he's trying to take the place. I think that ended up being Wilkerson.
It might have been Wilkerson inside, but Bassey came off the outside. Good job that time. He's the fastest player on the Oklahoma team.
Yeah.
Hey, why not rush him? He'll get to the quarterback more times than some of those other fellas.
4.3, 240.
4th and 7. And Benacos is the punter. Perkins at the 9, looking for room. 15, and rolls across to the 16-yard line as Perkins, a 46-yard kick for Bryce Benacos, a sophomore from Chino Hills, California. Oh, we'll be right back. It's Oklahoma with an early 7-0 lead here in Norman. Welcome back to Norman. UTEP trailing the University of Oklahoma 7-0. Antoine Savage on the touchdown reception from Nate Hibble. And the Sooners coming back on their second offensive possession after holding UTEP. Bill Land, Gary Reasons, Dean Blevins, and Zach Klein with you. Oklahoma with a 7-0 lead, and the Sooners huddling near the sideline.
Well, Dean, one thing about this offense here for the Sooners, they throw the ball around quite a bit. Bob Stoops, when he came in here, he put a passing game in that was exceptional. And I tell you, they've got some receivers that have really caught a lot of passes. They have 4 players on their current roster that ever have over 100 receptions in their careers. Some of them are just, they're moving up the charts here, knocking guys out. We'll take a look at it here in a little while as far as what these guys have done.
And the best thing about that, Gary, is that they have 2 young guys you'll see a lot tonight, Travis Wilson and Brandon Jones playing, and they're not even on the charts.
1st and 10 at the 18 for the Sooners. And Griffin, forward progress, stopped near the 21-yard line.
Oklahoma's going to take what the defense gives it, as every team in the country does. But if it's a push, if they don't know which way to go, they're going to run the ball tonight.
Well, they came up defensively that time. The Miners came up and actually had 8 guys at the line of scrimmage, and Nate Hibble didn't elect to go to the passing game. He did run it. He ran to the weak side. Credit Quentin Griffin that time. He made someone miss in the backfield and picked up 5 on his own.
Looks okay if you make that guy miss, huh?
Bet.
Griffin, 237 yards rushing in the Tulsa victory, the season opener for Oklahoma, 37-0. Here's Hibble back to throw. Incomplete as it's knocked down, intended for Savage, and covering on the play was Mark Dowdy, junior from Haltom City, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it'll be a 3rd down and 6 coming up for Oklahoma.
Well, 3rd down has been something that really hasn't been great for the Sooners this year. Only 38% completion on 3rd down. We talked about the receivers and what their production was. This is just tremendous to have 4 guys in your squad.
Running
Look at those
back
numbers there.
and tight end. Ooh. We're a little low on that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Your alignment's getting a little screwed up.
I'm going to blame it, of course, on the technical end.
Yeah, okay. We have some technique problems up here in the booth. 3rd down and 6, ball on the 22. Hibble. And caught. Oh, what a circus grab that was at the 38-yard line. And a 1st down, Oklahoma.
Mark Clayton goes up high. Way up there to grab this football. See Clayton down here at the bottom. He's going to work down inside and come across the field. And good job that time. Well, they're knocking him off. He's just going to come across and work. Watch the ball, and he goes up for it, pulls it down, and concentrates on it. Takes a lick from the free safety.
Good example, though, of concentration, because they were poor at receiving against Tulsa.
He had 2 TD receptions in the Alabama game. And with the 1st down, back to the ground game for Oklahoma. 10:25 to go in the 1st. And Robert Rodriguez made the tackle. Rodriguez, good-looking sophomore linebacker, 137 tackles last year as a freshman to lead UTEP in that category.
Bill, there's a look at Clayton. He's a little guy. He's about 5'9". Very good speed, though. It runs good routes, and at this point in his career, he is the go-to guy for the Sooners.
Arlington Sam Houston, and Arlington, Texas, is home. Here's Hibble back to throw it again. Fagan just missing as diving on the UTEP sideline near the 25-yard line, and covered on the play by Weldon Cooks, senior from Midland, Texas. And the Sooners facing a 3rd and 5 now from their 43-yard line.
Gary's a defensive player. when an offense attacks you like that and takes some shots down the field? What does that do to you?
It definitely makes you want to play coverage first and rush second. There's no doubt about that. It takes away your aggressiveness at the line of scrimmage, and that's why Quentin Griffin can really be dangerous, because you can pop him through there on the shovel pass, on the draw, or a quick little play like this, and he was ready for the shovel then, but Hibble finds the receiver outside, and that's Savage.
3rd and 5, and knowing where you got to be, Savage leans forward as the first down easily, and Nate Hibble is particularly sharp here in the early going for the Sooners.
He spreads the ball real well around the field, and Savage just works to the outside here. You got one running him off, and Clayton out of the zone, and Savage did a good job in making the cornerback miss.
Well, and that was a check down. That was not the primary receiver. That was the second or the third, and Savage being pushed by Wilson.
Griffin on the first down call stumbles across midfield. Hibble in the early going, 3 of 5 for 79 yards, and of course the 56-yarder for a TD to Savage. And Griffin now 4 carries, 11 yards, as High made the tackle that time. Kamal, a senior from Lubbock.
Bill, to finish that thought, Savage is being pushed by the true freshman, Travis Wilson, that we mentioned. So sometimes being pushed helps your performance.
Yeah, they really are excited about Wilson, the freshman out of Carrollton, Texas. Oklahoma at the 48 with Griffin on the carry. DJ Walker, free safety for the Miners, making the stop. Here's their leading tackler on the season.
This Miner bunch, they can be stingy. Their defense, they can do some good things. A year ago, they gave up 184 yards a game passing, rushing 225 yards a game, 409 yards a game total. But they can make big plays, and that's what they do. They pick their spots. They run a 4-2-5 defense, Dean. Got a couple of linebackers in there and a lot of speed out there, much like Oklahoma tries to do.
3rd and 8 for Oklahoma. And Hibble completes it short of the first down. Inside the 45.
Pardon me, Bill. It'd be interesting to see what happens here, because I think it might be a game where you'd be inclined to take a risk or two. As soon as I see that, Bob Stoops sends a punting unit on.
Why'd he glance up here anyway? As the Sooners with a 7-0 lead, clock moving at 8 minutes coming up here in the first quarter, and Hibble to the sideline as Oklahoma to punt it away with Blake Ferguson standing on his own 45. We'll boot it away.
Good for the stats, bad for the team.
Yeah, into the end zone and out, and that'll bring it out to the 20. And UTEP will operate there. You're watching Oklahoma and UTEP college football here in Norman. The Sooners with a 7-0 lead. Oklahoma with a 7-0 lead here in the first period, and UTEP getting possession of the football again as the Sooners, after punting it in the end zone, go on defense. 1st and 10 from the 20 for the Miners. Speaking of Miner, he sets up in the slot there on the left after the change from the line of scrimmage. Shopper, the long count. Fakes to Jackson. Incomplete. You have to respect John Shopper as a runner also. This is a guy that last year, in fact, had a 74-yard run against Alabama. So he's got good speed, quarterback for UTEP.
Yeah, they say he's got 4.5 40 speed, Bill. He can really run. Good job moving out of the pocket that time. That was actually a pretty good pass, just dropped by the receiver.
Word on him, 4.5, raw, great future, and Nord is even using the words All-American potential.
2nd and 10. He's certainly going to get tested and has been so far here tonight. Little option game here. Shows his speed and is tackled at the 28-yard line, maybe the 29-yard line, a little short of the first down, and Pasha Jackson is there to make the stop for Oklahoma.
Good decision that time by Shopper coming down the line and reading it around the corner, had a guard pull from the backside out in front of him, gave him a little room to run, and good job of turning the ball up and making something happen. Now he brings up a 3rd and short situation, which is manageable for them. 3rd and long is going to be a tough thing to go against the Sooner defense.
There's the key guy for the Sooners, Bill. It's Bob Stoops talking about Brandon Evers, the safety.
3rd and 1, and looks like they got it, marking it at the 31-yard line. Jackson, as Everidge makes the tackle. There's Gary Nord. 2-9 last year, 1-7 in the WAC. The year before, his first as a head coach there, 8-4, and they won the WAC, tying for the championship with TCU at 7-1. First conference championship in school history as far as the WAC. So UTEP a quick rise, but as you mentioned, a senior laden team then, Gary. First and 10 at the 31. Shopper with a handoff. And Jackson slips his way. He is nifty. Howard is 5'10", only 155 pounds, but he's hard to get a good hit on. Flag on the play.
Now, we were told before the game, Bill, 145. Well, I don't know what they talk about sopping wet. I mean, that's always a saying. I don't know what in the world that means.
That's what he is now, because he's hot and sweaty.
Well, with those Shotema pads on, maybe he's 155. They say 145. All I know is he made Teddy Lehman miss, and that's pretty good.
And Bassey, too. Both of them in the hole. Both guys had a good shot at him, but neither one of them made the tackle on him, and he slips through and makes a good game. We'll see what the penalty is.
Holding on the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
Thank you, John Bible. Let's take a look at what Everidge was doing on that play.
Well, your free safety's got to come up and read. He's got to make the right decision. You got to get in the hole. You have to play at a good angle, and that's what Brandon Everidge does there. You got two guys that missed the tackle, but your free safety has to be an excellent tackler. One thing about Brandon Everidge, I think he's a big hitter. I think he puts his head down a little bit sometimes when he comes up to make contact. He does have a nicked shoulder, so I think he's playing not as reckless as he used to, and probably a little more cautious, which may be good.
First and 20 after the penalty, the ball on the 21. Shopper completes it to Minor for yard, well, if that, let's see. As Andre Woolfolk makes the tackle from the cornerback position.
To finish the life story of Brandon Everidge, let's say once again that Bob Stoops thinks he's a key to the defense. You have to have a safety that makes plays. More importantly, this is the guy that I think was out of position all last week against Alabama. Coaches wouldn't say it. They didn't want to point to a guy, but I think it was him, and he's a veteran, and that shouldn't happen to him. He's a better player than that.
Second down and 21 now. Shopper. Intercepted. Perkins, 45-40. 30, 15, touchdown, Oklahoma. 50 yards on the return.
Well, he's not just a punt returner, Dean. Antonio Perkins does a nice job. He's the safety here playing middle of the field. They're going to try to get the ball to the tight end and watch him come across. And the hands. Antonio Perkins goes up high. Then he reads the wall. He knows how to return punch. He's got some guys blocking. A defensive practice this all the time. You got a guy get an interception, set a wall, run behind him. Exactly what Antonio Perkins does.
Perkins had 3 interceptions as a freshman, his first this year, and he gets 6 for it. DiCarlo tacks on another. It's 14-0 Sooners. Oklahoma with a 14-0 lead. Bob Stoops got to be pleased so far. What about the Sooner head coach's goals for this season?
It has a chance to be. I'm always, you know, it can. We'll be faster than we have been in the last 2 years. And I believe we've got more experience overall. When you look at the experience in the secondary, you had Andre Woolfolk solely in the corner. You look at the experience in what we have up front with Tommy Harris, Dan Cody coming back with us is a big boost. Jimmy Wilkerson now solely on that defensive end. You know, Teddy Lehman moved to Rocky Calmus's position, who's one of our fastest guys. So we have a chance to be, but you know, you got to go do it.
Well, they're doing it here tonight, and that defensive speed, in the name of Perkins, and a terrific run back following the interception to get the touchdown, and you see the Oklahoma defense and what a force it has been.
Well, Bill, of the 9 times that Perkins has touched the ball with an interception or punt, he has averaged 23 yards. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's sensational. The short kickoff, and the return man is tackled at the 32-yard line. Wiseman carrying the football. And UTEP will take over there. the tackle by Chambers of Oklahoma.
Well, I know that Bob Stoops is happy about his defense, and when they can create turnovers, Dean, and they create points off turnovers, whether they actually score the touchdown themselves or they put the offense in a position to score. This year they have 34 points off turnovers. It's just into the third ballgame.
Well, you know, that's Mike Stoops and Brent Venable's forte. Those guys are terrific defensive coaches, and they take pride in that.
First and 10 from the 32 for the Miners. Jackson slides up toward the line. Incomplete and nearly picked off. Went right through the hands of Eric Bassey.
Jonas Crafts, the tight end, works outside. They're trying to, or is that Justin Hunt, the tight end? Justin Hunt was in there from Mesa, Arizona. Watch here on the right side, just going to work to the outside, and a good throw goes through his hands and actually hits him in the head. Was that?
It's Bassey, right?
Yeah, caught him right in the head.
Bad play.
Well, sometimes, you know, you just got to put your head in there and do something.
Hey, those are easy to catch from up here, guys. Gary, you've been there before. That's not an easy ball to catch.
He's going to make the tackle. Not worried about getting the football.
Chopper on the option, pitches to Jackson. Oklahoma strings it out to the sideline where he steps out at the 34-yard line. Bassey covering there for Oklahoma.
I'm not sure that down the line is the way to go against the Sooner defense. They've got too much lateral speed from the secondary and the linebackers. They can string plays out like that, and the defensive line will track you down as well. You see Mike Stoops here on the sideline, and Brent Venables getting the calls in there to the secondary.
Well, you know, last week Alabama started with a lot of side-to-side stuff. They came back with the north-south game. The power game really got to Oklahoma in the second half.
And that might be more of a way to attack this defense overall. Go with the natural bubbles in the defense. We've got one here off the left side. Let's see if they go towards it.
3rd and 8 for the Miners. Down 14-0. Ball batted high in the air. And boy, it's been a while since I've seen a pass deflected that high in the air. Dan Cody got the hand on it, I believe. And then it was like a bunch of outfielders trying to run under it.
This is a feel-good story. Dan Cody, it's been well documented, had some problems last year, and he's come back and there you see Gary circling the number 80. Great job with his hands. He's lean, he is mean, he is hostile and mobile. But no, he has all the tools. A great young man. It's fun to see guys like that who can recover from some problems and become live up to the potential. His potential is to be a star.
Benecos with a punt. See Perkins back to return. Misses one, another, and a hard-earned 10-plus yards on the return with a flag thrown on top of it. 44 yards on the punt.
I mean, Dean, we were talking about it. Antonio Perkins, every time he touches the ball, you think, uh-oh, he can take it the distance. He's so shifty, so quick. I think he's got vision that you just uncanny. He's able to see things down the field as they develop right in his way. And I tell you, when he can shift and move and miss people like that, make people miss, anything can happen.
Well, he's one of those backs.
Illegal block in the back on the return team. 3-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
You know, we've seen, let's take a look at his moves and the block behind. I think it was on Clayton in the back, but what you do with a great back that returns it like this, you always look for the yellow. You know, and you're just saying, is there a penalty? That's all that's going to stop this guy.
See the stop, the start, the left, the right, the jumps. I mean, those things you just can't coach and you can't teach. Those are inherent, and he's seeing the field as he does that, so he knows what he has to do to adjust. And it's
almost
phenomenal
dropped
watching.
it, though. Did you see that? He didn't have it secured. He almost dropped it before he was even hit.
Well, his body's working faster than his hands, Dean. That's all.
Works in the lineup for the first time tonight. Ronaldo, junior out of Tulsa, Booker T. Washington, who had 2 big plays, runs, but they're actually shovel pass receptions that helped lead Oklahoma coming back against Alabama. And that's why the applause. Woodard made the tackle this time on Works.
Well, remember 2 years ago, Ronaldo Works burst on the scene, actually in this game against UTEP in the second half. Played very, very well, had some long runs from scrimmage, and he showed that he can be a bruising runner inside the tackles. Really, though, he's got a kind of a reputation. He likes to run the ball outside with some speed.
Now Works 3 touchdowns in that UTEP game.
Check. Check to the hand signal.
Time
Go
out
off the field.
Check that. Hibble seeing something he didn't like and calls a timeout for Oklahoma with the Sooners' first timeout, and Oklahoma with a 14-0 lead and the ball back. Sooners on the 19-yard line. Where do you think, Dean, you see a lot of Nate Hibble? And in any high-profile program, the quarterback gets way too much attention, whether it be credit or blame. And guy goes 10-1 as a starter last year, and people are shuddering all of a sudden when Jason White goes down. Where has he improved the most? And what does he still need to do to become a better player and a guy that's capable of taking him to a title?
Well, it's like Bear Bryant. The guy who follows him struggles. The guy who follows Barry Switzer struggles, etc. The guy who follows Josh Heupel struggles. So let's get that point out of the way. And I think that what has happened with Nate Hibble in the offseason is he's finally figured out that he shouldn't listen to his critics because they abound in the state of Oklahoma. So emotionally, that's part of it. I think the fact that he is willing to take a few more shots. He's been really conservative, and last year late in the season the offense got what I call claustrophobic. They didn't stretch the field. Certainly they didn't stretch it vertically, and I think that was a bigger problem because right now he's not afraid to throw it down the field.
See what he does here after the timeout on 2nd and 5. The handoff, and Works stiff arms his way out near the 30-yard line. Well, Gary, I'd like you to finish on a comment there because at all levels, we were talking earlier today that the quarterback has got to be supported or you're going to have problems, are you not?
Well, you have to get behind the quarterback. I mean, the whole team, really, it's the chemistry of the team, and Bob Stoops has to make the decision that, hey, Nate Hibble's my guy, and I think he has to make that very remarkable. There's questions whether or not Paul Thompson's going to come in and play today and how much he's going to play, or whether Rawls is going to be healthy enough to play. I think they need to get behind Nate Hibble. He's a guy who's shown that he can win on the field, and they need to be demonstrative and show him and let him know that he's their guy.
1st and 10. Hibble. Savage, and into UTEP territory at the 45.
What can Nate Hibble do? Well, he can drop back and throw one about 45 yards, almost on a line. And you don't see this a lot, guys. This is a good example of straight back, little play action, sets up, has a little pressure. Gary feels it from the outside, but still has a lot on it.
Well, watch the block there by Works. He does a good job, and the quarterback steps up. And Hibble does have a good, strong arm. He throws it inside in coverage, but he throws it where the receiver can go up and get it. That's a pretty good job of throwing the football.
25 yards in the play. Hibble over 100 yards for the night. 1st and 10 at the 45. Whistle's blown as 3:30 to go here in the quarter.
While the ball was dead, there was a false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
Penalty-wise, both these teams about the same coming in here, as Oklahoma's had 12 penalties on the year for 44 yards. UTEP 11 through their first 2 games. The Miners, besides the blowout loss to Kentucky, they were victorious over Sacramento State 42-12 in their opener, while Oklahoma shut out Tulsa.
Haven't seen much from Trent Smith this year so far, guys. Tight end flanked down.
1st and 15 from midfield. And Works ran out of room and may give him a yard as he crossed into UTEP territory. Rick Fetty made the tackle.
When you split that many guys out, you have to get your wide receivers to block for you. Ronaldo jumps out to the near sideline here, just trying to work it on down, and everyone's kind of locked up. There's nowhere to go. Good job by the Miners defense of stringing it out that time.
Kevin Wilson, the newest coach on the staff, the run game coordinator here at Oklahoma, came from Northwestern, and more on him in a moment. 2nd down and 14. Hibble looking for Smith. Threw it about the only place he could, over and out of way.
Yeah, maybe threw it the only place he could to him, Bill, but I think he ends up with triple coverage there, and out of the backfield he had a man that might have caught that and still be running.
The check down there is always a good play. Whenever the defense is out there deep in their coverage and zone, just throw it down and let the guy make a play. And you got Quentin Griffin back there, who's caught a lot of balls in his career. Throw it to him.
Hey, he's throwing it downfield, Bill, to his roommate. His roommate's saying, All-American roommate, hey, I'm not having a very good year, roomie. Get it down here to me.
Right. This is UTEP. Let me get some numbers here. 2:52 to go in the quarter. It is 3rd and 14. Hibble, plenty of time. Incomplete, intended for Fagan. Dowdy was covering on the play. Nice job to jump in front, get a hand on it, knock it away.
Sell out in coverage that time. They only rushed 3. They put 8 guys back in coverage. Dowdy just works the underneath zone, and Hibble tries to stick it in there underneath. Would have been a 1st down if he had made the reception. Take a look at Nate's numbers on the night, 5 of 9. Going over and getting a little clarification there from Wilson.
The rain has arrived. You see the sky. Wow, what a shot that is. And wind has come along with it. A stiff breeze in the face of Oklahoma on a 4th and 14, and Blake Ferguson to punt it away.
And the wind is moving in from left to right from the north. So punting into it, which is what he's doing now, it's going to be more difficult.
Yeah, Aaron Gibbons was the deep man, but that ball right into the teeth of that wind, and UTEP will take over on their own 26-yard line after a 23-yard punt.
Well, one of the numbers that Oklahoma really needs to improve is its net punting. 32 yards right now on net punting, and Oklahoma has been a terrific team with net punting the last few years. They're losing, Gary, a first down. It's about 10 yards less than it's been.
Well, that's a lineage there. You got Thompson to Thompson. We got 2 Thompsons punting here over the last two careers for the Sooners, and they're hoping, I think Bob Stoops is hoping that's going to pick up. Just got to give the young man some time and get him out there, get him some reps and some snaps, and get some confidence in him. Hey, game conditions are a lot different than when you go out in practice. You know, you may boom 50, 60 yarders in practice. When you get out here and you get a live rush, you see last week against Alabama, they had a little bit of problem there with that pressure and a couple of guys in his face. So some of his mechanics may change, and you see the guys on the side and all taken care of. They're getting the windbreakers out and the hats, the whole bit.
Now, weather conditions have changed just a bit, haven't they, from the start of this contest? Still in the first quarter is Gary Nord on the UTEP sideline. Apparently, they are going to clear the field.
Well, the weather forecast for this storm was not inclusive of lightning. Maybe they heard some lightning or saw some in the distance. We cannot see out the booth here to the north to our left. So actually, I can see the rain coming sideways. It's not raining down, folks. It is raining sideways, blowing right onto the stadium field.
Interesting scenario, guys. What do you do if you're in the stands? Okay, you've taken all day to get here, and you're sitting out there, and the players are gone. Are you going to stay in the stands, or are you going to hike it to the buggy and leave?
Well, I think they all hope they have a rain poncho right now, first and foremost. I don't think they allow umbrellas in the stadium. So rain ponchos are out there. You see the orange ones, you see the yellow ones, you see the guys that have nothing on, and they may be making it to the turnstiles.
Stay and enjoy it, or if you think you're going to melt, it's not too late to go home and pop in that pay-per-view and go ahead and join us here.
Well, we need to get on the PA and make that announcement, Bill, because they're not hearing you right now.
Well, they said a 30-minute delay.
A minimum of 30 minutes. They want it to get cleared. Normally, you know, in swimming pools, I was a lifeguard at one time. It was a 20-minute delay. If you heard or saw lightning as a lifeguard, you know, the basic rules of the swimming pool, you clear the pool, get everybody off for 20 minutes. I guess a little bit different here in college football.
You never knew your swimming pool days would come in handy as a football analyst.
You never know.
That's a well-traveled man, Gary Reese.
Well, I tell you, in college, you have to make a little money, Dean, in the summertime. And so I took a summer job as a lifeguard.
Yeah, you buffed up. I know guys like you.
It was the best job I ever had.
Now, I knew a guy in college I played with that did steroids. He gained about 50 pounds in the offseason, just buffed up. And he was probably out there sitting on top of a ladder.
Well, it certainly is interesting, and you're probably sitting at home going, you've got to be kidding me, it's just raining. Well, it's real easy for you to say, but in light of things that have happened in recent years, safety is certainly the smart thing to do here, and not only for the players, but for the fans. And to give you more on that, let's go down to Zach Klein, who has got Larry Nafee with him to tell us more about the situation and why they've made the decision they have. Zach?
All right, Bill, thank you very much. I'm joined by Larry Nafee, the Associate Athletic Director, who's now playing weatherman. Larry, we cancel the game or postpone it. What's the status?
We're in a delay. We're in a delay because there's lightning that's moving this way. The lightning's about 4 miles away and moving this direction. And under our guidelines, that's the time for us to suspend play before it actually gets here, and we can't do anything about it.
Only time will tell. We just kind of wait it out, wait for the lightning to pass, and we'll get back on the field.
And it's not the rain that's the issue. It's the lightning that's a concern. And when it passes, and we're being told it will in about 30 minutes, then we'll resume play.
All right, there you have it, Bill. Larry, appreciate your time. So he's got to be patient, let the lightning pass, and then they'll resume a little football action. Let's send it back to you guys upstairs.
All right, Zach, you just stay out there and be our monitor, if you would. And do not hold up an umbrella. We do appreciate Larry coming out there and informing us exactly what's going on.
He's sacrificing a nice Brooks Brothers suit out there. He had some water building up on that lapel.
Hey, I've got a question for you guys. Let's see, the fans are leaving and the players are leaving. What are we going to do?
Well, I think we're going to stand up here
There's
and
lightning
chat.
coming, and everybody's gone.
We don't have any electrical products around us that might draw into that, do we, Dean?
Well, no.
Nothing around us that might want to have something come into this booth.
I'll tell you what, the certainly rain has come in force with the incredible winds as the fans take a break here. While we you see the rain delay, and 2:37 to go here in the first half. Oklahoma, 2 big plays to score with. The 56-yard TD pass to Antoine Savage on the second play from scrimmage made it 7-0. And then Antonio Perkins, a 50-yard interception return of a John Schopper pass from UTEP. And the kicks were good in both occasions. 14-0 Oklahoma is the score here. Well, before the rains came, Zach Klein had an opportunity to catch up with Oklahoma basketball coach Kelvin Sampson and get his thoughts. So let's go ahead and look and listen to that interview.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. I'm joined by one of the busiest men on earth. Coach, you were telling me the other day you've only slept 2 days in your own bed. You've been traveling a lot. What have you been up to?
Well, I had a tremendous opportunity to work with the USJ team in the World Championships in Indianapolis. And, you know, even though we didn't do as good as we'd like to on the court, it was a great experience for me personally, because I got to work with some great coaches, and anytime you're with that, it's a great learning experience.
0-3. You lose 3 consecutive games. It was history in the making.
Yeah.
What was it like to be a part of that, and what did you take away from that experience?
It was tough because everybody played so hard, and everybody wanted to win. But the bottom line is those teams were much more prepared than we were. We had 10 days to practice, whereas Yugoslavia's been together for 10 years. Argentina played 44 games. And I think after we lost the Yugoslavia game, which we were up 10 with 5 minutes to go, took a little wind out of ourselves. But I think that'll motivate the USA committee to pick the best team possible for the Olympics in Greece.
Let's talk about the best team possible. You were one of 4 of the best teams possible last year in college basketball. You go to the Final Four, back-to-back, Big 12 tournament champions. How do you improve on a team like that? You lose some guys up front. We got a great recruiting class coming in. You looking forward to the new year?
We are, Zach. It was one of those dream years where everything came together. But the bottom line is you got to work hard. You got to get kids to compete. And I think we're going to be a good team again. Like Duke was supposed to be in the Final Four. They didn't quite make it. So there's never a guarantee. You just go out there and get kids to compete, play together, and you see what happens. But we do have a chance to be really good.
The Final Four is in New Orleans, and if I'm familiar with your backcourt, Quantas Wright, Hollis Price, 2 guys from the New Orleans area, it'd be nice to send them back home for a little Final Four action.
Well, anytime I want to motivate them this year, I'm going to just ask them, do you guys want any gumbo?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Coach, appreciate your time.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, Kelvin Sampson, head coach of the men's basketball team. Bill, let's send it back to you upstairs.
And that was right before the heavy rains hit, and Kelvin fast breaks his way out of here real quick. Coach is smart as he is talented with that Sooner bunch, and what a year it was with the men and women both going to the Final Four in college basketball, and both will be very good again this year. If you have stepped away for a moment, the delay continues here in Oklahoma with rain, thunderstorms, lightning, and it's going to be a 30-minute delay is the predicted time in which things should be able to move through, and then we'll be able to come back and play. And it's not like baseball. It's not like it's got to stop raining before we can resume play. We just have to be sure that the lightning is clear.
Yeah. A lot of faithful here in the stands, though. Dean, you see a lot of these guys out here, and you're saying, hey, this is pretty enthusiastic for this Sooner crowd to be here. And about half of them have gone for shelter for at least a 30-minute break.
Well, shelter?
Some kind of
cold
shelter.
beverage.
Common sense may not be, it may be in short supply.
Here's an interesting graphic that I wanted to get comments from both of you guys about. Barry Switzer, of course, the legendary Sooner coach from 73 to 88, his record. How hard was it to fill the bill and return to the national championship scene? Gary Gibbs, a guy who had to follow the legend. You look at that record, and you think of the things that were said about the guy when he was here, and that is a terrific record. Schnellenberger comes in for the one season, and if nothing else, I thought he regenerated the enthusiasm around the state in the Sooner Nation, as he called it. John Blake, who certainly struggled, but did recruit some players, and Bob Stoops put it all together.
Well, each one of them has, you just put your finger on it. Gary Gibbs, those numbers now would really be impressive at most places. And I think had you asked the Sooner fans and the regents and anyone around this state what they would, if they would take him back in the middle of the John Blake era, I mean, they would say, yeah, let's give him $1 million contract. But it's that same deal. You know, you've got Hibble following Heupel, and you've got Gary Gibbs following Barry Switzer. And then the guy at the bottom of the list there has just made everyone shake their heads.
I think the thing that Bob Stoops really brought into this program, Dean, more than anything, was a system and guys that he has worked with, that they work real well together. I've talked about it before. I think this staff that he has assembled, they work very well together. The defensive side of the ball, he's got that covered. He's got Brent Venables and his brother Mike. They do a great job on that side of the ball. Offensively, you got Chuck Long, the offensive passing coordinator. Now you've got a new guy in there, Kevin Wilson, the run game coordinator. They work well together. And the thing that I think Bob Stoops does personally real well is he communicates real well to his players, and that's what's been the resurgence since he's been here.
Yeah, I think you're right on all those counts. I think it's so important to come in with a plan. And ever since Barry left, and really Gary Gibbs had a plan throughout his tenure, but just didn't win enough for them, and there was a lack of motivation at times and a lack of state enthusiasm with Gary. But that aside, I think after Gary Gibbs, there was not a plan at all. And Bob Stoops knew what he wanted to do. As he was going through his assistant coaching days, he was looking around the country, and I know that he was developing his own plan, and he was able to do that under a couple of pretty good mentors in Snyder and Steve Spurrier. So that was really significant when he came in.
A couple of system guys you talked about there. Those guys have systems in place. They've been productive. They know how to win. Those things, I think, that head coaches who are successful, who go on as assistants from one program to another, who then take those good things and build them into their own, put their own little stamp on it, make sure it's got their own feel for their own program. But they know the key components at work that can keep the player interested, keep the fan base interested, and keep the quality of the football moving on an upward direction. That's exactly what a new head coach has to do. And Bob Stoops, from the day he got here, it's been that way ever since.
This was a place, Bill, full of excuses for several years.
Yeah.
And when Bob came in, the first day he was here, and really before he came, I remember talking with him and trying to figure out who was going to be this next Oklahoma coach. And in talking with him down at Florida, I was asking him sort of his philosophy about things. And he said, you know, a lot of it's Steve Spurrier style. He said, the first thing is, I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're at Duke, Oklahoma, or Florida. There should be no excuses. And that's been his mantra since he's been here. And following, you know, some of the years prior to him being here, there were plenty of excuses.
Yeah, and I think that was evident from the very beginning, and it put a stamp of an attitude on that first team that went 7-5. And then the next year, of course, the incredible run to the national championship. There was never once from the head coach why do we have to go beat Kansas State twice? You know, I got the feeling that if they told him, guess what, you're going to scrimmage the Chiefs on Friday night before, he'd go, weekend 2, and K-State does it, oh good, we'll get on the field. Now, he may have been seething inside, but he always projected that, and as a result, you never heard it from his team.
Hey, I believe with you, but don't take that to mean that he doesn't want to play that Big 12 championship game. He doesn't want to have to go play that, you know.
And I think the point there is, well, we'll get back to more of that. Let's go down to Zach Klein as run down Gary Nord, the head coach of UTEP.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. There is a first time for everything. And Coach Nord, this is the first time for you, a little postponement of a college football game.
Yes, and it's not raining hard enough for me. With all the speed that Oklahoma has, I tell you what, hopefully we can get a bunch of rain and neutralize a little bit.
It was a quarter of big plays. Second opportunity on offense for Oklahoma. They go hit that touchdown pass. Defensively, what kind of adjustments are you making inside right now?
Well, we played pretty good except for 2 plays. They got the one long touchdown pass, and then we overthrew a guy that we had open against 2 deep coverage, and our young quarterback just sailed it over the tight end's head, and they ran it back. They've got all kinds of speed. He caught the ball, and we couldn't catch him.
One of those 2 big plays we were mentioning, the touchdown and the Antonio Perkins, interception for a touchdown. Does that kind of take the wind out of your sails a little bit, knowing that you guys are playing great except for those 2 big plays?
Well, you got to anticipate big plays when you play great football teams, and you got to be able to overcome them. So we knew that they were a great football team coming in, and we knew that they were going to have some big plays. So we have to bounce back, and we have to forget about it and take care of what we have control of, and that's the next play.
We were talking to some officials, Coach, and they were saying it's not the rain, it's the lightning. That's why we're inside right now. They were thinking about 25, 30 minutes to get back on the field. With the water on the field, does that kind of neutralize maybe their speed, as you mentioned, maybe give you guys some kind of advantage?
Well, I know it's an outstanding field there. They have a lot of sand underneath the surface, so I think it'll drain pretty quick. I don't think that the field will really become a problem for either team.
Any other adjustments you guys are making inside right now?
Yeah, we're making a few adjustments. We've got to stop them on third down. We had a big problem with that last week. We gave up 10 out of 12 third downs, and then we stop them for 2 downs, and then we give them third down opportunities, and we get them to keep their drives going. And we have to be able to stand up against third down and stop them.
Coach, appreciate your time. If you have an extra poncho in there, I could use an extra poncho. Gary Nord, head coach of UTEP. Guys, you guys got a room upstairs. I know there's 3-man booth. There's going to be a fourth in about 2 minutes. I'm coming up.
Well, thank you very much, Zach. The hardest worker among the whole bunch down here, Zach Klein. And a special thanks to Gary Nord. There are not a lot of coaches that would come out. This is middle of the game, believe it or not. It was 2:37 to go in the first quarter. When's the last time a coach talked for 5 minutes to a sideline guy?
Rick Neuheisel, I bet. Rick makes himself very accessible.
Yeah, but he was very, very frank about exactly what his team is facing out there.
Yeah.
The defense of the Sooners' speed. He knows that that's what he's facing out there, and they've got to make adjustments. They can't make mistakes in this stadium and expect to win a football game or even be productive in a football game.
What effect, if any, do you think this will have on the game? You think UTEP gets a little bit of a break, Dean, or is it just putting off the inevitable?
Well, I don't think there's any way that it hurts UTEP. I think the crowd will not be as big a factor as it was before. I think anytime you have inclement weather, then that neutralizes things. And I think that Oklahoma came out with a lot more enthusiasm and excitement for this game than I expected. So I see several ways that it would help UTEP.
We're still in the first quarter, and it's an amazing thing here. The whole stadium is emptying out on one side, and on the other side there's fans in the corners just still trying to wait it out. Gary Nord said, he says it's not raining that hard, not raining for him, but he doesn't see a lot of rain in El Paso. So I don't know what his qualification is for heavy rain.
Well, he needs to look up. There's a ceiling above it. Did you see? Yeah. And, you know, Gary was here during the Schnellenberger year, and that was quite an eventful year. But I think the book on him, there were a couple of things that were fairly tumultuous involving him. But I think the book on Gary Nord when he was here was that he's a good football coach. And I know, Gary, you've done a lot of homework down there, Bill, and you know people around college football enough to know that he's well respected, not only at UTEP, but around the country.
And he's surrounded himself, like Bob Stoops, with good coaches, and he's put a plan together of how they want to attack the growth of their program. A couple of years ago, they had 26 seniors on that football team. That's exactly what you want to build a football team towards. But then they graduated. So the next year he had 6 seniors, which was a year ago, and this year he has 12 seniors, and that's not a lot of players out there to have on your team. But conversely, you take a look at the Sooners on defense.
I was going to say
they only have 1 starting senior, so the speed and talent that they have on defense is going to be here for a while for them, which is a good thing.
Too deep, though. I think it's like 2 seniors. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You can look at stats all day. You can look at the stats that says that they returned 10 players on defense at UTEP, and boy, wouldn't that help make them good? Well, they got 77 last weekend, so returning 10 guys, I don't know if that's good.
I think that in the college football game, in the college football era, a lot of coaches will tell you, most coaches will tell you, they would prefer to redshirt players across the board so they get experience. And let them develop 2 ways, both physically, in the weight room, get bigger, stronger, faster, and then mentally as a player and be able to learn the college game, learn the speed of the game, so that when they do get in there, they're not trying to have a learning year, which is their first year on the field. They're able to go ahead and produce once they get out there.
Right.
You guys saw Joe Castiglione, the athletic director. He quickly got the rain garb on down there that was strolling on the sidelines. And there is Joe. We'll have a chance to visit with him at halftime tonight, which will be around midnight, I assume, at this rate. And then the Oklahoma band enjoying itself, playing out there for the fans. Those that have stuck around are really, I think, enjoying it and making the most of it. We'll have more on that, but let's take a look at some scores, because as we talk about the season, and let's take a look at Big 12.
Wow.
USC hammering Colorado. That game was in Boulder today, 40-3. Mississippi, Eli Manning, they lose at Texas Tech, 42-28.
You're not going to get away with just going past that one real quick.
That thing right there is pretty amazing. Colorado, let's talk about them. Beginning of the season, they came in here as a favorite in the Big 12 North. There's no doubt about it. They returned the 3 running backs. They had Craig Oaks back at quarterback. He's a little bit dinged. He's not out there playing like he normally would. But to give up 40 points to USC is really not picked to be a whole lot out in the Pac-10 this year, and lose that football game. Colorado's going the wrong way this year.
Well, the worst thing is for the conference. The conference started off well in losing, an opener, if you will, with Florida State hanging on to beat a resilient Iowa State club. But after that, guys, the Big 12 Conference hasn't shown itself very well.
Yeah, the big win was Missouri beating Illinois non-conference. Tech lost to Ohio State. They bounced back today. Here's UCLA in the state of Oklahoma. They're up in Stillwater tonight, 7-0 in the first. Cowboys have the jump there. There's a chance to gain some recognition for the league. Kansas playing Southwest Missouri State, 7-7 in the first. And, of course, former OU offensive coordinator Mark Mangino looking for his first win there. Here's another bump.
Yeah, they're Iowa State down to Iowa. A lot of people were picking Iowa State to win this football game pretty handily, but it's one that the Hawkeyes actually have their hands full in.
Well, look at the next one. Come on, Big 12 Conference.
Wow.
Come on.
Missouri beats Illinois, but can't handle Bowling Green, and that's not knocking Bowling Green. But
well, let's see. On that pace, it's a 108-point game at least for Bowling Green. We don't know yet. There might be more points scored in that quarter.
Ohio State appears to be the real deal as they beat Washington State today. That game in Columbus, 25-7. And Cal, a real surprise, as Cal thumps Michigan State 46-22.
Well, and they beat Baylor a couple weeks back, 70-22.
I think it
70-22. So Cal's showing that they've got some promise out there.
Michigan and Notre Dame, a wild game as everyone anticipated, and Notre Dame 25, Michigan 23. That Notre Dame job is unique. Is Willingham the guy to get it done?
Sure looks like it. And Bill, I like him for several reasons. And I think that the biggest one is he is such a disciplinarian, and he will recruit skilled athletes.
It is raining harder now than it has the entire rain delay, and that's saying something, as it is just coming down in sheets here in Norman. And if this field drains well, it's going to get its test tonight.
It's not raining sideways now. It's raining straight down. I think the cell is right on top of the stadium.
Let's go to Zach Clyde with the latest on the weather.
Gentlemen, I disagree. It is raining sideways.
Oh, come on, Zach.
I'm underneath a balcony right now trying to stay dry, but it is coming down sideways. I just spent the last couple minutes rolling through the Oklahoma locker room. The guys are just relaxing, taking it easy, laughing with one another about the rain. Larry Naphew, who we spoke with earlier ago, kind of in charge of the weather, he is looking at Doppler radar right now. He's going to have an update with us in about 5 minutes. They said it's raining fine. The only thing they're concerned with, guys, is the lightning. And about 2 minutes ago, we saw some lightning. So that's the only thing they're really worried about is the lightning. It's raining hard. They could care less about that. It's just the lightning to worry about for the players, the fans, and everyone here inside Memorial Stadium. So I'm going to go get an update with Larry, bring him outside. We'll have that for you in about 4 minutes.
Nice job right there.
Yeah.
Does he get his swim gear on?
No, I didn't. I mean, Zach always does a great job. I was talking about those two guys standing there on the field. Did you see them in their slickers?
You know, they better get an oar because they're going to need it pretty soon. As you might have seen behind them, the puddles that have formed. And if you're still with us, why, I'm not quite sure. But we're glad you're staying with us, getting your money's worth on this pay-per-view.
Well, just think if you're a parent at home and you sent your youngster here to the University of Oklahoma to enjoy the college experience, and you know that they had tickets to the game, and you said, I'm going to stay at home and watch the game. You guys go ahead and go to the game, and you're wondering at home, are they in the stands and during this rain and this weather? You'd hope you'd give them some better decisions than do that. But they're out there having, oh my gosh, look at that rain flowing through.
And you saw the shot of one of our camera fellows. Yeah, think if you sent your son away to become a cameraman. You'd be going, wait a minute. Think they don't earn it. And
they're having fun, though, these guys.
Hey, that creek there a minute ago, I thought it was Lake Thunderbird for a second, but it was mud. It wasn't clay. It was not orange, so it was not the lake.
All right, give a wave there. Hey, you got some FaceTime there. Good job out there. Hey, that's looking right at us. Right at us. Hey.
Hey, guys.
Amen.
This thing started at 6:48 and local time now. I don't know what local time means. It always sounds like you know what you're saying if you say local time.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it's
well, you fooled us.
What's this? 23 minutes into it now. So, hey, what do they do with the players? Seriously, if the Lightning has left the building and we have this type of rain, do they tromp them back out and guys, let's get after it?
Well, they will come out and they'll give them a warm-up period, Dean. They'll come back.
No, but I'm saying with this kind of rain, will they bring them out?
I don't think, well, that's a decision that the Castiglione may actually have to make. Or Larry Neary, who's having the decision on the field down there, whether or not the cell is moved through. I think they'll probably look at the radar more than anything, whether the rain is not an inhibitor to play football. There's no doubt about that. You can go out there and play, and some guys fare well in it, some guys don't. So it's just a matter of what they're going to call, whether the lightning is a factor at the stadium.
84 OU Texas. There was a tie in this kind of rain. In fact, that was, correct me guys, Myron Patton, 15-15 down at Texas. That's the one that Barry, I can't say cried about. He thought his team thought he should have won. There was a touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone that Texas was able to use late to tie the game. Interception, that's right. Interception that was not called. Yeah, it was ruled away.
I tell you, as you look at this rain and you look down on the field,
the band's still playing, Bill.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And life preservers will probably be handed out to those that return to the stadium.
Gary Reasons needs to get down there. He was bragging on his lifeguarding ability earlier. Let's see it, Podsy.
I think I gave that badge up, Dean. That lifeguarding is over. Although we got a lake right here. We got a little pond working. That's, you got some water in there. You can maybe get a jet ski working in here. That'd be a little fun.
Amazing. 14-0 Oklahoma as the downpour continues, and eventually, as you see that water seeping closer and closer to the actual playing surface, that may be a factor before they bring them back as well, that even though the lightning strikes may be over, they're gonna have to allow some drainage time a little bit, I would think, since they've already stopped the game. It'd be different if they were just playing in a downpour.
I haven't seen a band be this big a factor since the Cal game 20 years ago, almost to the day.
Yeah, Cal. And it has let up a little bit, but boy, not much. And you mentioned some comments earlier, Dean, about UTEP. How many people will come back for the Oklahoma side? Yeah. And at halftime, let's say Oklahoma gets another 2 or 3 touchdowns and is up 30 points at intermission.
Yeah.
How many people are going to come back following halftime? We could have an empty stadium.
Well, all these people that stayed at this point, I think you can bank on them staying.
Yeah, well, I would hope so.
Well, looking around the city, and we have a nice vantage point here, you don't see a lot of cars out leaving. I would think you have a lot of them out there trying to listen to us any way they can. No, seriously, out in their cars, kind of monitoring the situation. Ooh. That's a 7.
They're doing some slip and slide on the far sideline. On each sideline, they put a mat down so that the players don't trounce the sideline area, and these guys are making the most out of that situation. Little slip and slide action. You talked about people around here. There's some establishments that are probably pretty busy right now around the stadium here, and I don't know what the policy is on whether they allow people back into the stadium or not.
Well, I'll tell you how desperate we've gotten, Dean, is that we have our producer, Jeff McElroy, who has just a truckload of file tapes, but he has some that we need your help in identifying here of Oklahoma. So we did it for a rain delay, but we thought that'd be for a baseball game. Maybe you can give us the play-by-play of this one.
Well, some stiff at quarterback flips it to one of the greatest running backs in the history of college football, and he scores.
And maybe even NFL football.
Great. Wait a minute.
That same stiff finds Steve Rhodes, one of the best receivers during that era, and it goes for a touchdown.
And as much as you love Coach Switzer, you could never convince him to throw it even double digits a game, could you?
He said we throw it, but he said, son, it's just going to go backwards.
Sideways.
Give us some reflection. What was the offense system called back then? How did you call plays in the huddle?
13 zone, right 13 zone or left 17 zone. That meant Steve Davis or Thomas Lott, let's run option to the right and try to pitch it to Joe Washington. There were so many zone option plays, Gary. That's really what that offense was. And during practice, when you would on defense, you would see what offenses would do with your school, and the offense would really run a multiple number of sets and plays, and maybe snap the ball 150 times during practice. Well, say if we practiced and had 150 snaps, over 100 of those would be true option plays, just repetition, and that's the only way that you could go out and execute it. And we were fortunate in those days to have the Joe Washingtons and Billy Sims and Kenny Kings, etc. And if you had a lot of repetitions and you executed, you won a lot of championships.
Well, you've seen the option from its early days and how people have run it. Time in and time out, a lot of repetitions. Now offenses include the option kind of as an afterthought, kind of a change up in their offensive system. Do you like how teams are using the option these days?
Oh, I sure do, and I think it's coming back. You know, you're not going to see a true wishbone come back, but I see teams implementing it more and more. You look at what Oklahoma did when Mike Leach first came in here 3 years ago. And he brought a system that Hal Mumme had and that they also had at BYU, and I think Joe Tiller had it, and one other school, well, I guess Kentucky, there was the main one. So he brings that system into Oklahoma. Bob Stoops says, I couldn't stop you at Florida, so I'm going to hire you to bring it here. Well, man, he could score points. That first year, it was wild. People didn't know how to defend it. The next year, they go out and win a national championship, although at the end of the year, teams were defending Oklahoma a little bit better, and I think that defenses were beginning to catch up with that offense and sort of are now, and so now you're seeing teams having to run a few more things besides just drop back and read and run a lot of wild plays. They're running some more option right now.
I know from a defensive perspective, if you're running traditional basic power teams or teams that are pro-style offenses or even three-wide offenses, but you come up against a team that has the option in their game plan. If it's a core play for them, say for instance the Rice Owls, Ken Hatfield down there, they run that option consistently over and over and over again. They run it a lot. Those are teams that are hard to prepare for, and as a defense, you don't have a chance to see that time in and time out. So every now and then a team like that can sneak up and bite a team and catch a defense off guard and actually make you look pretty bad.
Let's take a break from Offensive Football Philosophy 101 for just a moment, the option, and check out Zach Klein for the latest weather report. Watch those cords, Zach.
Yes, Bill, my wife is going to kill me. The brand new shoes I have, very soaked. I need boots now, honey. I need boots. I just got to talk to Larry Nafee, who said within 10 to 15 minutes, if nothing changes, we will be playing football. They will talk to both locker rooms in about 15 minutes and say the lightning has gone. The rain will continue. They will be bringing them back out in the field. Now, in terms of asking, how much time do they have to prepare, there's really nothing in the rule about how much time do you have to prepare to get ready for the continuing action. What he did say was that both teams will take as much time as they need be. No, dilly-dallying around, but if you're ready to go, let's get it on, and they'll be ready to play some football. So about 10, we're looking at 7:30, bottom of the hour, before Larry goes to both locker rooms and tell them that it will be raining, lightning's away from the area, let's start to get it on and play some football.
Well, in this era where they keep records on everything, I got a feeling we're going to have the longest first quarter in the history of college football, as 2:37 remains on a kickoff that was about 6:07, I think, here, and we're well past the hour mark on the first quarter of the game. The field, there are no puddles on the field, though. It is amazing, the drainage that, if you think about in the old days, football fields were not set up for that.
Yeah.
And it's certainly in great shape here. And Gary's pointing, remember 2 years ago we were back here doing a game and it was UTEP, it was 106, and we'd have killed for a rain like this, wouldn't we?
Actually, I remember being down on the field that year, Bill, and had a thermometer that I had in the south end zone. The sun was still on it, and it registered 106 degrees, and that was one of the hottest days I've ever been on the football field, and it was quite contrast to what we're experiencing right now.
And they've announced what is going on here to the crowd, and those that remain, which really is a hearty and a pretty good bunch, is they're elated that we're going to have football here again not too far away. Let's go back down with Zach and Larry Nafee.
All right, Larry, please tell everybody we just told me moments ago. Bottom of the hour, looking like lightning will fade away and we'll start playing some football.
Yeah, it looks like conditions are going to be safe enough for the teams to come back out on the field. It's going to continue to rain, but the lightning is moving out of the area. We'll stay on top of it, but in about 15 minutes, it'll be safe enough for the players to come back on the field.
Is lightning the only thing that would cancel a game? It could rain as hard as it can, but lightning would pretty much be the only thing that would cancel a game?
Right. The lightning is a condition that we can't control, that has some real significant safety issues with it, and so that's why we suspended play.
In terms of the players getting back, warming up, loosening up the joints, they'll have as much time as they need, just take an appropriate amount of time.
Right. The officials will allow them to get loosened back up again and ready to play, and they'll control that.
You want to go with me and join the fans out there, go swimming?
Absolutely. Let's go have some fun.
We're going swimming, guys, so enjoy the comforts of the booth. We're going to go take a few laps.
Well, he said Zach, with jealousy in his voice. Thanks again, Zach. You saw Joe Castiglione as he was checking the surface of the field and continuing to, boy, the era for the AD, how much has it changed? He has been a huge success here, Dean, in getting facilities, providing things, and helping as much as Bob Stoops has helped bring it back on the field for Oklahoma. he's done it off the field and supplying things. And one of the things that is about done here is a brand new indoor facility that when you see rain like this, you realize how that's needed.
Well, and they have an indoor facility right now to allow them to go out and do everything they need to do. When you get $102 million thrown your way, you can have a nicer indoor facility than you had before, and that's what Oklahoma has at this point. But, you know, you look around the league, you look around the country, there are a lot of teams that don't have those facilities, and boy, what a disadvantage they're at, because on days that aren't nearly as tough as this, they simply can't go outside or can't go into a facility and practice. And I've known a couple of teams around here that miss 2 days they've missed 2 days in a week.
That's not easy to go out and play and perform. A lot of teams, most teams, they want to have routine. They want to be able to go out there consistently, and they know they're going to practice on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, have their day and their schedule set. And if you have inclement weather and you don't have the facilities to accommodate that, you are going to miss some time. And players, you can just see it over history, they don't play as well without repetition in practice.
Just like we were talking earlier.
14-0 the score. We are in the first period with 2:37 remaining here, and the lengthy rain delay appears to be close to being over as, again, not the rain, but the lightning that they're concerned with, as those gentlemen there taking charge and making sure that everything is safe for the return of the players and the fans as well, as Oklahoma and UTEP with it 14-0.
Vegas had it, if you had 40 minutes and the under, you're about to lose. So there was a lot of over 40-minute betting in Vegas, and those people are about to be winners.
Oh, boy.
Well,
strike up the band.
You know, you laugh. Remember, it was Wisconsin and UNLV that did not complete their game in Las Vegas, and they decided they had played far enough into, was it the fourth period, or I think it was still early in the fourth period.
I think it was fourth, yeah.
That they said, all right, it's still going to qualify as a game, but literally all bets were off in that situation. And, you know, some people are starting to trickle back into the stadium, but most folks are just waiting because it'll be well documented when the teams return, there's obviously going to be some form of warm-up period to check things out.
Bill, there's a fella that I recognize. It's Ernest T. Bass. Remember Ernest T? Pardon the interruption.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ernest T. and the crew are enjoying themselves here this evening. Bill Land along with Dean Blevins, Gary Reason, Zach Klein, a hearty crew from Fox Sports Net as we endure on here through this lengthy rain delay in Norman. The Sooners coming in at 2-0 and UTEP at 1-1, and the Sooners a couple of big plays for a 14-0 lead. Let's go back down to Zach Klein.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. You see the water rushing down from the stands. It's kind of flooding the baseline where the benches are, you know, maybe 2 or 3 inches of water, but it's not affecting the field of play. If it can take you on the field, the drainage system here at Memorial Stadium on Owen Field is pretty amazing. Actually, it's USGA certified. So, Dean, I know you're a big golfer. You want to come out here and play some golf, we can. The sand is kind of like the sand they use on putting greens, and it can withstand 15 inches of rain. 15 inches of rain in an hour. If you look at the field, I mean, there's really no puddles whatsoever. I mean, it's wet as you would expect, but there's no puddles down here. So once the guys get back on the field, they should be ready to go. I mean, it's perfect, not perfect, but semi-perfect conditions, just a little moist.
Keeping balls dry.
He's not a quarterback. Zach, try to throw one. See what happens when that ball gets a little slick, and a lot of things happen when that ball's wet.
Yeah, that's seriously, that's the biggest issue. Receivers have the advantage. Defensive, the secondary will be at the disadvantage. Boy, that's a beautiful shot right there. You can see where's that? Changes. I can see black skies over here.
Is that here in Oklahoma?
That's a picture. I don't know.
Well, it's got to be the west sky behind the stadium.
Yeah, behind the press box.
Which way's the sun going down? Which way did it go down today, guys? Did it go down west?
We haven't seen it in a while.
You probably know the line on it if there was one. So you saw the sun does still shine, and that means eventually we will get back to football here in Norman. You know, for Oklahoma, this is a game that they have a week off, and then they'll play South Florida before they open up the Big 12 against the University of Missouri. Well, that Missouri game was looking a little bit more ominous until we saw at least what happened with Bowling Green, Gary, and I look at the Big 12 overall right now, and this league has kind of sandwiched itself together here in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Well, when we talked about the Big 12 in the summer when we got together, we looked at some clear-cut teams that were picked to be leaders in early going on in the season. You take the Big 12 North, you take Nebraska, you take Colorado. And we talked about a wild card, Iowa State, and they may be the team in the North Division that is kind of that wild card. They're playing very well. Colorado just kind of gone into the tank, and here in the Big 12 South, Oklahoma, they're still doing well. Texas is doing well. There's just some things that aren't what you would expect early on in the season for the Big 12. I know Dean and I were talking about earlier about what this may do for the Big 12 schools, the teams that are at the top of the list, because their BCS rankings, which aren't being used right now, but really strength of schedule and what your common opponents do, really has an effect on how strong your BCS ratings are. So all that goes into the components, and it could be a factor late in the year.
Yeah, and you look now, Nebraska playing Penn State tonight. This week and next week, for the most part, is it as far as key non-conference games. And once you establish that by what you've won, what you've lost against, then you go into league play and you just knock each other off. But you pretty well are out of as far as trying to improve things, because you're going to be settled in at a certain rating there. So that adds more importance over the next week. Tonight's game with Nebraska and Penn State, as well as the key matchups that are next week, to where the league will sit. You got 8 bowl bids that the league is guaranteed. That'll also have an effect there as well.
Well, very simply, in your out-of-conference games, if your conference wins those games and when you play out-of-conference teams, it helps your overall ratings in the BCS and whatever the end of the season rankings are, because strength of schedule comes into play.
Quite a rainbow that we've got here at Owen Field, which they've added to the name with thanks to the contributions of the Gaylord family, officially now Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium at Owen Field. Bill Land, Gary Reasons, Dean Blevins with you up top, and down below, Zach Klein. And that rainbow,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's like the Arch of St. Louis, isn't it?
It's right over the stadium. It is from one behind the scoreboard to the other end of the stadium. It is so perpendicular and comes down. It's pretty amazing. It's a beautiful sight.
There's that silver lining that you talk about in any store, right? It is the rainbow here tonight. As the band, maybe here's the first indication that we might have a game pretty soon. The band is back in the stands and in place. Fans are starting to come in, and shortly we'll have the players back on the field, and hopefully we can get underway. Let's go back down to Zach.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. I took this football underneath my vest about 5 seconds ago. You can see it's already getting moisture. They have 24 footballs on the sidelines here at Owen Fields, and they'll exchange them about every play, every other play. Now, the grip, my grip is pretty good right now, but as you said, under center, maybe rolling left, rolling right. The rain's coming down sidelines. Sideways, so it's going to be difficult to throw the ball. But you guys were mentioning up top that Oklahoma trying to work on the ground game, so maybe we'll see a lot more rushing plays. But if Hibble and company trying to go back, let's see if I can throw that upright. What do you think? No, didn't even come close. But that's why he's a quarterback. I'm not. Let's send you guys upstairs.
Too bad we didn't track the rest of that throw. Wait a second there. They were dodging you in the stands there.
Well, the trick is that go get the football now and see how wet it is, because that ball's going to absorb that water, and time after time after time. If you drop the ball on the ground, if you have a fumble, you go down to pick it up, it's going to be a little wet, and it's not going to be easy to get a handle on it.
Well, Zach was talking about the footballs and how wet they may end up getting. Each team has the right to choose what football it really wants to play with, right?
Yes.
Wet or dry, or is there a certain football that is better that a team may elect to go to in a situation like this? Or
a quarterback has footballs that he likes, and they let him bring, these. I've seen balls that are really worn these days. Way back when, you had to use brand new footballs, and I felt that they were slicker than I wanted before they ever got wet. And when those balls got wet, you had no chance unless you had a real big hand. And these days, you can wear some footballs out, and sometimes teams have a couple that are fairly worn so that they will be able to be better in weather like this. But bottom line is, quarterbacks have the balls that they want, and you basically, I used to pay guys on the sideline extra money to keep footballs dry. So didn't work for me, but I don't know why I did. I never do them forward.
Well, kickers too. Kickers like balls, particular balls. They have a bag of balls that they use. They like to use those in the game. I'm not sure anymore if they're able to use those old worn-out kicking balls, but
no, I don't know about kicking. I mean, there'd be a limit on that. Russell Erxleben used to have some footballs that were worn, and they were as light as a feather. I mean, he'd knock them through from 60 yards, and he was a fabulous kicker anyway. Went on and had a nice career in the NFL. But I'll never forget looking at his footballs because I was jealous that he was able to use a worn ball like that.
Well, the officials are back. Yeah, usually when they show up, they're and they're getting a rousing ovation. There's another first. Yeah. You see them looking around like, well, wait a minute, did the team just follow me out here, or what is this about? But the fans are excited about any sign of activity that might indicate that the game is not too far away. Now, that rain delay graphic you see there, that's not 2 hours and 37 minutes that we've been in rain delay. That's 2 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in the first period here of this football game. With it 14-0 Oklahoma, and the Sooners and the UTEP Miners, when they come back out underneath that big rainbow that we showed you a few minutes ago. But it continues to rain pretty good here. It's amazing that the sun is so close, yet we've got a pretty good downpour still going on.
Well, immediately behind the stadium is the sun setting. We've seen that, and the rainbow is up over the stadium again. Looks like some of the Sooner personnel, the sideline personnel, are making it onto the field, and the cheerleaders are back out, and we might have a football game here before long.
By my count, we've gone 45 minutes.
Is that local time?
And it just looked like, to me, out of my vision, I know there's something flash in the stadium, but there was a lightning blast right in front of me. And it is really strange, but don't have a vent, can't hear it. We've got a headset on. I didn't hear if there's any rumbling out there. The only thing we can hear is the band playing across the way.
Yeah. You know what? They've gotten so good, though, seriously. It's like the PGA. You know, you see athletic events now monitor that stuff so closely that even if it's you can see it in the distance, if it's far enough in the distance, you'll still go out and do it. A perfect example here, because they're coming out, and we just saw lightning a long way in the distance.
And a little bit of a thunder roll, but apparently no serious harm intended here. And there are the Oklahoma Sooners as they gear up. The other thing you don't know here, the fans may just, regardless of those that don't come back, those that stay may get into this like they've never gotten into it before, to say, I was there the night it took 5 hours to play that UTEP game, and I had a great time.
And some of the fans may have some of the best seats they've ever had because others have vacated, and that's not a bad feeling either.
All right, Gary, tell me now, as one of those big uglies, no, as one of those defensive players, tough guys, would you want to come back out and play in this?
No doubt. This is one of those games where you go out there and you have fun. It's one of those slobber knocker type games, to coin a phrase. You know, this is the time you go out there. Your defense, if you're a defensive player, you have a chance to play in the rain. It is fun. It really is, because you're flying around and you make a tackle, you make a hit, and you slide. And you know the Sooners, hey, they're getting fired up, and I would expect the Miners when they come out to be the same way. Michelle Lady, gotta tell you, it's a nice looking outfit. little plastic does wonders. But you know, it is fun.
All that commentary.
Yeah, don't get off into plastic surgery. She did not need it.
No. But the playing on the field is fun. There's no doubt about it. And these guys, you know, when they come out, they practice all week. This is payday for them. This is a chance for them to perform. And there's guys that are trying to, you know, work their way into spots. And Bob Stoops has some questions to answer. He needs his football team on the field.
Hey, don't be talking about OU and payday. Come on, huh? These kids are amateurs.
Well, as the officials talk to Gary Nord, UTEP coach, let's go ahead and take a little recap here of what has happened on the field in the first 12.5 minutes. The first quarter, Hibble, Savage, 56 yards, touchdown Oklahoma, first possession.
And then the interception by Antonio Perkins, and the run back here, just watch him find the wall of blockers and doing an excellent job in the return game. It's not a punt return, but an interception return, and he does them both very well.
What great vision there by Perkins, and a little shake and bake to miss a guy and then follow his blockers. Dean?
All right, wind is much crisper, so that'll be a key factor here. I think the other thing you really have to watch closely at the beginning is pulled hamstrings. These guys are just coming out, and we'll see how long they get to warm up here. But the weather has cooled, and it sure is an easy time if you have any type of a nagging injury to to aggravate that injury.
I think they're going to give them plenty of time to warm up, because what you're talking about, Dean, is very true. These guys, they've warmed up, they've cooled down, and now they've got to go in a warm-up process again. And it's much like going into halftime. It was a very similar situation. They've done this before, and now they're going to have 2 halftimes. So they'll come out and they'll prepare, they'll warm up.
But it was longer.
It was longer. It wasn't in a routine that they're used to either. They didn't know when they'd come back on a timed halftime. You know how much time you have to allot to taking care of business, getting with your coaches, and getting prepared to go out. And then you stretch and get ready to go. This is a little bit different. I think they're going to be a little more extensive here in the warm-up period.
And they might want to call a hockey coach, because they're going to have another break here. So it'll be like hockey tonight, where, okay, what do you do when you have the second break? As Oklahoma loosens up and gets ready to go with 2:37 to go here in the first period. And kind of interesting, we saw some more lightning, but apparently nothing of danger. So hopefully we'll be underway here in a few minutes.
I'm lucky enough to be a football analyst, not a weather analyst, so I'm going to leave that with you guys. Hey, guys, I want to get your opinion on something as we watch. It was Nate Hibble, and it had to do with him and his offense last week. We all know that Oklahoma came out of the second half, and they were just lethargic. They didn't get anything going offensively. In talking to some of the players this week and talking with Chuck Long, they all said that they were tight, that they didn't get loosened up, that the defense was on the field, most of the second half. 47 snaps, in fact, the defense was on the field. That's the first time I've ever heard in hot weather an offense say that it was, this is a club that doesn't make excuses, say that was a factor, Gary.
I think it's not so much that, Dean, as much rhythm. They just lost their rhythm because they were on the sideline, and the defense had to go down the field. Alabama moved the football, and they were out there quite a bit of time, and the offense just wasn't in sync. And when you're not in sync, you're not in rhythm, you're going to feel tight. Things aren't working, things aren't clicking. It's just going to be different for you, and I think it's really what they experience more than being tight physically.
Good point.
Well, do you think, you mentioned earlier the injury to Tommy Harris in light of this, do you think he comes back and plays in this situation? Or?
Oh, boy, I would sure think not. I think this would be even more reason for him to not play.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that defensively. There is Griffin and Works, the duo of running backs that have both seen some action here tonight. And we talked a lot about Nate Hibble. We haven't talked a lot about Josh Heupel, who certainly is the guy that helped lead Oklahoma to a national championship a couple years ago. He is with Zach Neal right now.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. That is right. Josh Heupel led the Sooners to the 2000 national champion. Feel good to be back and watch the guys, but you're brave, man. You're very brave to be out here in this weather. True fan.
Nah, it's not a beautiful night for football, but we don't play bad in the rain, so looking forward to a good second quarter coming up here in a little bit.
Yeah, long first quarter. You were in the locker room. What did the coach say to keep these guys focused? As a quarterback, what would you do to keep these guys on edge, knowing that they've been, sitting beyond, down for about 30, 45 minutes?
Well, I wasn't back in there with them, but these guys are going to stay motivated. Obviously, we had one scoring drive, one come out and be successful early and get some more points up on the board.
How difficult is it as a quarterback to play in this weather? The footballs are slippery. Your hands might get a little wet. Even though they exchange the footballs every play or two, is it difficult to throw?
It's difficult for everyone, but as a passing team, you might have a little bit of advantage as long as the ball boys do a good job keeping the balls dry. You got the advantage as far as footing goes.
How you keeping busy these days?
Always staying busy, working on rehabbing, finishing up school, and being busy, being around here.
Just appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Send it back to you upstairs.
Appreciate it, Zach, and great job during this rain delay. We are ready to go. 1st and 10 on the 26 for UTEP, trailing 14-0. Bill Lamb, Gary Reeds, and Dean Blevins with you up top. And, well, rain or not, the Oklahoma crowd is fired up. Mitchell makes the stop on Jackson on the first down carry, and it'll be second and a loss on the play.
Hey, I told you those quarterbacks would give the game balls. The MVP would go to the ball boys, Bill, if they do their jobs, huh?
Yeah, and Josh, he backed you up on that one, didn't he?
Here's more lightning. This is hard to imagine, guys. It's right above us.
Heupel, of course, the career passing completion leader, and rewrote the record books here at OU passing-wise. And the run going nowhere. It'll be 3rd and long as the wind has slowed down a little bit. We'll see how it affects the passing with still a pretty good rain going on here, though.
Doesn't look like there's much wind down in the field. Got a little bit up top here, but the flags on the goalposts are not affected too heavily right now, so it shouldn't really affect the passing game. As Josh Heupel alluded to, the footwork of the receivers is probably going to be a little better than the defensive backs, because obviously the receivers know where they're going, they're going to break, and the defenders have to react, and any slip could be in favor of the offense.
3rd and 12 from the 24. Chopper. Incomplete out of the hands of Lehman. He had 6 if he could have hung on.
Lehman says, give me a drive football. He says, come on, ball boys. Do your job. I'm in the end zone.
Well, that's the speed that Teddy Lehman has at the linebacker spot, covering man-to-man on the tight end coming across the field, and does a good job of just cutting underneath. Watch him make the break underneath and get 2 hands on the football. Catch that ball, Teddy, and you got to score.
Yeah, that's impressive, though, isn't it, old linebacker?
Huh? When you can close, when a linebacker can close and make a play on the ball, there's no doubt about it. If you
now,
can
that
play
ball
with
was
speed,
thrown behind him, but still, he looked like he might have gotten there.
Benacos nearly had it blocked. Here's Perkins from the 25. And brought down at the 32-yard line. A 51-yard punt from Benacos, and Oklahoma will take over the football here with 1:02 to go. Click making the tackle on the play. Cedric Click, a freshman from Pomona, California. And the Sooner offensive unit comes back on with Nate Hibble and crew. Some quick numbers. Chopper 2 of 10, 1 interception that went for a touchdown, just 13 yards passing. Nate Hibble's 5 of 9, there you go, 109 yards with 1 touchdown. That's the 56-yarder to Savage. Works. And a host of tacklers for UTEP.
Been a lot of talk around here this week about Oklahoma needing to go to the I formation. That's call-in shows. And that was the old I formation with the fullback being the tight end you talked about earlier, I believe Lance Donnelly.
Exactly right. And they're just trying to run a little power lead in there and actually pull the backside guard around, a little kick-out block. We call it a G block. And wasn't really effective against the Miners defense. Good job of stepping up and filling the holes.
2nd and 10 from the OU 37 following the rain delay. And Hibble completes it. Trent Smith able to hang on.
Dean, you wanted Trent Smith to get into the passing game. They throw it to him, and this is a whale of a catch. His ability to catch the ball. He's going to turn around. Watch Josh Heupel throwing it to the outside. Trent Smith is going to work inside. Watch him go all the way outside to catch that ball. Loses a handle. It's a little wet, but brings it down for a grab.
I tell you what, Hibble rifled that football, and it was away from his body. That's a terrific catch.
Smith, his first reception of the night, his 8th of the season. Last year, 61 for 564 yards. And with a 3rd and 3, the end of the first quarter, we'll be facing 3rd and 3 for Oklahoma. We come back on the longest first quarter in college football history.
Ring a commercial on.
Welcome back as Bob Stoops, the head coach of the Sooners, 33-7 in this, the start of his 4th campaign. And the Sooners up 14-0 as we go to the second quarter here. And Oklahoma faced with a 3rd down and 2 now at the 45-yard line. Sooners on their own 45 as they bring it out. Up 14-0. Works in the backfield with Hibble. Savage the man in motion. Hibble. Oh, wow. And a fumble, and it is, hold it, they're blowing it dead.
Is it dead or a fumble? They called it down. Well, that's a...
Clayton was the receiver. Intercepting or recovering the fumble, whichever you wanted to call it, was Tim Woodard.
First down.
Well, Gary Nord's going to say, now wait a minute. That was the break I was looking for.
Well, they took a shot. I think it's DJ Walker, the free safety, comes across. He's going to come across and make a hit right here. Watch this ball thrown. DJ Walker just lays into him, bingo, and the ball is out, but he is down. It's a good call by the official. Mark Clayton hangs on to it and gets to the ground, and the ball pops out, and it's going to be Sooners ball.
Called a blow to the head.
It was a blow to the head. Yeah, it was definitely a force there. DJ Walker, he's the best defensive back, no doubt about that, and he's the number 2 tackler on the team. He's the secondary person who actually some scouts are looking at, say that he might be playing the NFL someday. So
12 interceptions.
He's a physical player.
That's what they say about him and number 15, Weldon Cooks, who was toasted a little bit earlier, number 15.
Walker, 12 career interceptions. He was a second-team all-conference pick in the WAC last year. Well, the completion and the penalty, 1st and 10, Oklahoma at the 32 of UTEP. Hibble Going deep. Touchdown, Works. Oh, wow. What a call and what execution.
Well, I tell you what, Nate Hibble didn't take the easy way out on that one and just throw it up. He threw that one, and just like a cornerback was running stride for stride with it.
And Ronaldo Works gets the touchdown. Oklahoma with a 20-0 lead. That is Works' 4th reception of the year.
And that's pretty good handiwork. Fake coming out of the backfield. Ronaldo Works. Obviously a missed assignment by the Miners, and nobody within 30 yards of him. Good job that time by Nate Hibble delivering a ball for a touchdown.
And for the point after, DeCarlo, it is up and good. Oklahoma with a 21-0 lead. They struck early when the game started. They strike early in the second quarter. Sooners by 3 touchdowns. We'll be right back. Here's a look at Nate Hibble's second touchdown pass of the night.
Yeah, Gary circled the man who's going to run a little wheel route up the boundary. Great fake. You've got Quentin Griffin picking up his man. Wonderful fake, though, by the quarterback. And I don't know where the defender was, Gary. The wheel route just ate him up.
The 20 and to the 22-yard line.
What'd you get? Took a look at run pursuit a while ago on that play, or what was it?
Well, actually, they probably did. They went with the run. The linebacker obviously would have been assigned to a linebacker in coverage and probably just over-pursued at the strong side. And Ronaldo came out the backside. And it's obviously a big play for the Sooners and a score.
Redshirt freshman Gayron Allen there getting congratulations on the big hit in the special teams play. And special teams is certainly a mark that needs improved, according to Bob Stoops, after last week when kicks were blocked and a fake field goal went for a touchdown. And the Sooners have had good coverage here tonight. It's now 1st and 10 at the 22 for the Miners. Shopper, a little play action on the rollout. And incomplete. Went right through the hands of Kraft.
That's a big-time throw, guys. It's been a tough catch, but well defended, but very well executed by Shopper.
And watch the guard come out and block. Does a good job. He gets behind him, turns his defender in. And then Shopper throws the ball across his body right there on target, but Kraft's the tight end coming across. He's the second-level receiver on that boot pass and threw it in there. He just needs to make that grab, and the Miners will be moving down the field.
Jonas Kraft's with the opportunity there, and Shopper's got to be thinking, I'm 2 of 11, but guys, you've got to catch those footballs. 2nd and 10. Jackson, is he hit by a load there as Jackson brought down by Jackson and Bassett.
Well, Bassey's the one Sooner fans are watching, though, guys, because they're saying number 38 would make that play. You know, it's unfair to him, just like the Hibble-Heupel. Well, you talk about Roy Williams and Bassey on this play. Gary does a great job of form tackling.
Well, you see on the front side, Teddy Lehman steps up in the hole, and Bassey goes backside and stays in his hole and his angle. Does a good job making a play right at the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 12. Crowd getting into it. Shopper complete. No, take it away. Everidge inside the 5-yard line is where he stepped out of bounds. Brandon Everidge.
Well, this is a fortunate play for Brandon Everidge. He was going to be short of the first down. The tight end, the ball's in the basket. You're going to see it here. Tight end's going to work inside, go to the outside, going to bounce up, kick it up right into Brandon Everidge. I'll tell you, that's Johnny on the spot. Hey, make the play, young man.
He had a play similar to that last week against Alabama, right down the same sideline.
And Everidge nearly takes it in. They'll mark it at the 5-yard line for Oklahoma as Brandon Everidge comes up with the big play. Touchdown Sooners as Oklahoma rolls right in on the first play from scrimmage from the 5-yard line.
Kewan Jones, yeah, he's in the backfield that time, giving Ronaldo Works and Quentin Griffin a spell. Got 3 backs that can run real well here for the Sooners and brings in. Watch the blocking here up front. There is a big hole here, an over pursuit by the Miners, and he goes backside and does a good job of finding the end zone.
Gary, this guy, as you know, is a north and south runner. He loves to do just that. He can run through tackles and cut on a dime. He's got a big future here.
Well, just his 15th carry of the season and his 4th touchdown. So you love those guys that know where the end zone is, and Kewan Jones is certainly that. The redshirt freshman from Jenks, Oklahoma. That'll bring a smile to Bob Stick's face. It's 28-0 Sooners with 13:24 to go in the half. Oklahoma 28-0 and getting it offensively as well as defensively tonight. Big plays have been the story with 13:24 to go in the first half.
Credit Brandon Everidge with an interception on that play, I believe, Bill. The ball was thrown down, it bounced off the tight end. He didn't have possession, kicked it up in the air. The ball is still live. It's a thrown ball. It's a pass. So Brandon Everidge comes up with the interception and takes it down and sets up a score. And Bob Stoops' troops are up 28-0 here early in the second quarter. And the fans have come back. The rain has slowed down a little bit, but a lot of Sooner fans made their way back in from the parking lot or wherever they went to root on this team some more.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's checking tickets right now either about, well, wait a second, that's not your seat, sir. You need to move over 2 rows. Oklahoma with a 28-0 lead, and UTEP a little shell-shocked right now as the Sooners, remember there was 2:37 to go when we had the rain delay, and Oklahoma up 14-0 and 2 quick scores now.
Well, I don't think you can put that on Shopper. The quarterback has thrown the ball very well. He's thrown it at the receivers. They just dropped 2 balls in a row, and it was opportunity for the Sooners.
Jackson from the goal line for UTEP. Tackled inside the 20-yard line. They'll mark it near the 17 as Antonio Perkins, the head tackler there for the Sooners. Everidge getting an interception, by the way. If you're wondering, that was ruled as an interception by Brandon Everidge, his first of the season.
Can you believe we had that much rain and that field is holding up as well as it is? You know, Zach gave the report on it, and he was exactly right. No exaggeration. The footing just is terrific.
Phenomenal. Well, you see Shopper, 1 for the last 10. He's had 2 interceptions. 1 went for a touchdown. The other taken back to the 5 that set up Work's touchdown. And it's 1st and 10 at the 18. John Shopper. Deep and complete. Minor at the 50. Minor showing some wheels and finally caught by another speedy player, Teddy Lehman, as he streaked across the field, and Lehman, the junior from Fort Gibson, catches up with it.
Well, something happened there you will not see very often, and that is Andre Woolfolk, number 17, beaten down the sideline.
I think it's just an adjustment on the ball. He doesn't make a good adjustment on the ball. He goes outside, and Terrence Minor does a good adjustment. He comes back for the football.
Woolfolk will be a first-round draft pick, and here you'll see Teddy Lehman up trying to find the football to knock it out, but that was a mistake by Andre Woolfolk.
57 yards in the pass play, longest of the year for Shopper. 1st and 10 at the 25 of OU, and the crowd wants to become a factor. Shopper brought down, was he in the grass? Thrown away. And now the flag. Lance Mitchell leading the charge as Gary North takes a look from the UTEP sideline, a former OU offensive coordinator.
Lance Mitchell, he's billed as a 4.5 runner. He's really not. He told me he's a 4.7 runner, but he plays fast, and he's one of those guys, if he gets you in the grasp, a lot like Roy Williams, you just don't avoid, he doesn't miss tackles very much. It's hard to avoid his tackle.
That's a tough penalty for the Miners. They're down there knocking on the door at the 25-yard line. Now they set shop again at the 39. So it's a big penalty, loss of down as well.
So 2nd down and 24, the ball at the 39. Jackson back to the line of scrimmage. That's about it. So 3rd and a ton. Pasha Jackson there to make the stop.
The offensive line is actually opening up some holes there, but they close very quickly. You'll see here it's the delay, it's the draw. Watch everyone step up in the holes, and as Howard Jackson goes sideways, the defense, they get off the blocks and they make a good aggressive move towards the football. You saw Pasha Jackson there step up and make a nice tackle.
Jackson comes off as they make a quick substitution and go with the 6 defensive backs, 3rd 24. They've got to get to the 15 of OU to get a first down here. Shopper. Incomplete. Minor wanting to flag. There is none. Covering was Perkins. Everidge, I beg your pardon. And that'll bring on, assuming the punt unit.
Yeah, they'll go with the punt, Bill, and you could bet that Mike Stoops and Brent Venables would love to throw another 0 on the scoreboard like they did at Tulsa after being, I'd say, embarrassed in the second half against Alabama.
Yeah, and this defense wanting to kind of regain some of its pride. And another whack opponent here tonight is UTEP. Perkins. Fair catch inside the 10-yard line. We'll take a brief timeout. Oklahoma rolling 28-0, 11:31 to go, second period in Norman. Oklahoma gets a yard on a first down carry. It's 2nd and 9 for the Sooners now at the 10-yard line. And Hibble's pass is complete. And Peoples making the reception for Oklahoma. Will getting just his 2nd of the year. He had 1 against Tulsa.
That's a reception, Dean, that I've never understood. Why does a receiver jump up like that and stop his momentum? He could catch that ball and keep running.
Well, I don't know. I mean, unless that ball, it's hard to see from here exactly where it was thrown. But I agree with you. Here's a guy, though, that has a world of ability at 6 feet, almost 6'1", and runs under a 4.5.
3rd and 3 as Griffin is stopped on the play at the 15-yard line, and Chris Minio, freshman from Odessa Permian, makes the tackle. So Oklahoma stopped, although the Sooners have had quite a night with 164 yards passing.
Bill, they made the big plays. You've got to be a little concerned about not being able to pound it a little better against UTEP.
Yeah, the Sooners' rushing game is just 12 carries, 34 yards. Ferguson gets it off. Givens.
Halo rule, and Oklahoma couldn't make the tackle. Didn't take advantage of the penalty, I guess.
Yeah, as Woolfolk makes the stop. Punt 43 yards, 11-yard return by Givens, and the flag. It's going to be that halo rule again, huh, Gary? We saw enough of that. We've seen enough of that in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season to last for a decade.
I just think it's very tough to officiate, and I think it's tough to change the momentum of the game and the players coming down covering it. It's a tough thing to really coach, for players to come and break down and stop their momentum prior to getting the ball to the returner. And I guess they're just trying to protect the returner and get the ball moving forward.
And Dean, you seem to watch games, and in some games it's almost like
interference with the opportunity to catch the kick on the kicking team, non-contact foul, 10-yard penalty.
I mean, the call is correct. Some of the fans may not be aware, or just Oklahoma fans, but you see some games where it is called 4 or 5 times. You see other games where it's almost like there's kind of a wink from the officials.
Well, take a look here. He's real close to him, and right there, as the ball comes down, he makes a grab. He makes contact. He's within 1 yard. It's a 2-yard rule, so we have to give him room to make the catch, and it's correctly officiated at that point. But you're taking away the aggressiveness of the kick coverage team, and I think it's a tough rule for college football.
Yeah, and you see 2 coaches right there, guys, that you can bet that they will say what I said a minute ago. They say, hey, if you're going to get a flag, you better go bust him.
Yeah. Brent Venables on the left and Mike Stoops on the right there, the defensive side, the leaders of this team. Well, speaking of bust, let's take a look at a play down in Dallas last year that certainly Sooner fans remember, and maybe the signature play of the Oklahoma season.
This is Woolfolk going to make an INT in a big game here and bring it back for the Sooners for the score.
And defense huge. White with a pitch to Griffin, who got in for the TD, and then late in the game, Williams, the Superman play, and Lehman with the interception.
Hey, Gary, what do you think Roy Williams is going to do this year with the Dallas Cowboys?
I think overall he's going to be an impact player. It's going to take some time for him to settle into that defense. He's not going to be a one-man wrecking crew by any means because there's some very talented players across the board that he's going to be playing against. But he's definitely going to be an impact player in the league. And I think if they surround him with other players, he'll just make all of them better.
There's the guy replacing him here that we've talked about earlier in Eric Bassey. You know, it's a shame that there hasn't been any talk about the Oklahoma-Texas game. What is the date of that? I mean, goodness gracious, people. And Dean, it always gets a build-up, but when's the last, think about this, when's the last time it's gotten the build-up that it's getting this go-round? Right now, it's 1st and 10 at the 46 for the UTEP Miners. Shopper keeps on the option, brought down by Lehman.
Well, my first answer would be last year, just because that's the way the game is. But that's a real good point, Bill. This one is special, and I think that with Bob Stoops and with here we see the Sooner defense with good speed down the line, Gary, that you've been talking about here with Lehman. But with Bob Stoops and with Mac Brown entrenched at their respective schools, and with some of the marquee names like Chris Sims, you're going to see a lot of venom and a lot of spirit.
2nd down and 8 at the 44. Novak Cleveland with the pitch from Shopper. He met Lance Mitchell and Brandon Everidge. Cleveland's first carry is a junior from Reno Valley, California. Well, and that's assuming, in the way things are going in the Big 12, you should take a look at this play again. North Carolina's playing Texas tonight. Oklahoma still got some games to go. That's assuming those two get to that date unbeaten.
Exactly, that's not a given.
No, I mean, earlier I think most people figured it was going to be an easier road than what we have seen already has happened around the conference. 3rd down and 5, the ball on the 41. Gary Nord talked about UTEP's problems on 3rd down. Let's see what happens. Incompletion, and they'll have to kick it away again.
Shopper felt the heat coming from the corner, didn't he?
No doubt. There was a corner pressure from the outside, and he brings it, throws it short. You're going to see pressure in here, come right on the quarterback, and he throws the ball off timing, and he had to do it. He has to read the hot. That's what it is, the hot receiver. Just a very, very poor throw. He would have made the 1st down anyway because Bassey had good coverage as well, so the Sooner defense played very well in that series.
Their alignment is so much better, guys. They were really out misaligned last week.
Perkins is back again. In the end zone, and he's going to come out to the 20. So a touchback. And Oklahoma will take over there with 7:48 to go here in the first half.
Gary, I think a lot of Oklahoma fans were a little bit confused last week when the Sooners didn't play well defensively in the second half. And Bob and Mike Stoops and some Brent Venables talked about the Sooners being misaligned. I talked to people who said, I don't know what that is, and are they just saying that as an excuse? And you might just answer that in a minute.
Griffin got a block from Jones and off to the 30, 35. Kewan Jones and Griffin in the backfield together, yet operating out of the shotgun, and it works. DJ Walker makes the tackle, but the Sooners will move the chains.
Quentin Griffin shows how quick and able he is to get into a small hole and make something happen. He's still got that quickness, that speed. He's a remarkable player, I think, here for the Sooners. Doing a good job offensively for a long, long time, and here on the little handoff to the outside. Good blocking up front, and just turns the corner very well.
16 yards on the pickup. 1st and 10 at the 36, and Hibble getting protection. Complete inside the 30. Jones with the reception. Brandon tackled by Alex Ross.
Well, Nate Hibble is making some friends right now. I mean, these fans who are holding him to a very high standard are seeing some magical things from him. A great pump fake. He did that last week and found a touchdown. And now Brandon Jones, terrific potential in this kid. That's the biggest pass of his young career.
We may see the ball boy hosing down the football for Nate Hibble on a dry day if this is how he operates. Griffin breaks a couple of tackles. 20, 15, watch out. Griffin reads another, scores. 29 yards and a TD.
Players with a low center of gravity like Quentin Griffin, yeah, those guys are tough to tackle. You get a shot at him, you better wrap up. It's going to be the draw play inside. Watch the fold block here. The tackle comes and kicks out. Excellent job at the point of attack. And he gets behind his blockers and sets him up very well. And Quentin Griffin, I tell you, he just gets into the end zone. And it's hard to tackle him. He's just, you got to get in front of him. He can't break down.
Well, and the wide receivers guys do such a good job at Oklahoma. Great blockers downfield. That was an example. Martin Clayton late there. You'll see him very late on this play, Gary. Make a block. Whoops. Griffin comes in at 5'6" and 7/8 is all he is, but he's very strong lower body. One of the stronger lower body lifters on the club. Has a vertical of almost 40 inches and a great broad jump, so that means he's very explosive.
He's been durable too. 32 career starts for him as a Sooner. This is his 33rd. That's a tremendous career here for that young man.
And he averages a touchdown per start. That's his 33rd touchdown of his career. 30 on the ground and a couple through the air as Quentin Griffin. What a performer.
And one thing I think he's happy about is, you know, over the last 29 games, he's caught at least one pass. Haven't thrown it to him tonight, but I'm sure they'll try to get him one of those little quick screens or shovel passes to qualify for his pass reception.
You know, and he hasn't, throughout his career, guys, he hasn't been a receiver where you look out and you say, if he were taller, he would have caught that. You might just look at it and say, because of a little receiver, you either don't want to throw it to him, you wouldn't catch as many. He's been a really solid receiver.
Last year, 55 receptions for 440 yards. The kickoff, and brought down at the 20-yard line as Oklahoma makes the stop there. Carrying the football that time was Cedric Click, and the stop made by Russell Dennison, who's done a nice job on special teams tonight for the Sooners. Griffin, of course, maybe his biggest touchdown, those 33, actually not listed on the career because it came in the national championship game against Florida State, the only touchdown in that game scored by Oklahoma.
Bill, the Sooners have been rolling defensive linemen. Harris has not played, but you've had Klein and Dvorak and Magruder, and Hager's gotten a lot of snaps.
1st and 10 at the 20 for UTEP. And Jackson, good swarm of OU tacklers there to make the stop that time. Yeah, some different folks getting in the lineup for Oklahoma. Mitchell leading the way there for the Sooners.
Well, that's what you do, Bill. You build experience. You got a team down 35 points now. You want to get some role players in there, players to get some experience, because you never know. Someone may get dinged or bumped, and you know your depth chart has to come into play there. You have your seconds come in and get some game experience. It's a good opportunity for Bob Stoops to get a lot of guys in the football game.
Shoppers 3 of 15, 2 intercepted, 78 yards in the passing game. Minor, a sensational grab, but he stepped out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Minor, listed as their best receiver, and the senior from Houston has been impressive tonight.
Minor's winning that battle right now over Andre Woolfolk, and that was a terrific pass from Shopper. I can't decide if this guy's a Bush League thrower or a big-time thrower. He's making some big-time throws.
Well, most of his throws have been on target. He's had a few balls dropped, and Andre Woolfolk that time was playing man coverage from off, which means he has to break up, and it's hard to do to get the timing on that, so the advantage is with the offense throwing the ball in the quick out.
Minor, 3 grabs, 56 yards. This sets up a 1st and 10 at the 36. Jackson, and he's brought down at the 48-yard line, where Straight makes the tackle, and that'll move the chains again for UTEP.
We talked to the UTEP coaches. They talked about Howard Jackson and how pleased they were with him at the running back position, how quick he is, just a slight build though, 150 pounds, but the ability to get to the outside and use his speed and quickness and find a hole. He shows his ability here getting to the outside of the Sooner defense, a little shake and bake there at the end, but he's just a slight guy, so if you get a good form tackle on him, you can bring him down, but Jackson is one of those ball carriers that could be special for the Miners.
Just a sophomore along with their quarterback. 1st and 10 now. Jackson tightropes the sideline into Sooner territory and steps out. Maybe another 1st down. Let's see where they place it, around the 42 of Oklahoma.
A nice little drive they're stringing together here, and you see Brandon Poole on the sideline. This is a true stretch play. They had to barely got the handoff there. Woolfolk missing a tackle. 23, Poole was a true freshman, a little out of position. And also Poteet, another young guy, number 21, playing. So the safeties have to do a little bit better job here. The secondary does in tackling.
Poteet, a redshirt freshman out of Ardmore, Oklahoma. It is now 4th down. Well, wait a minute. It's going to be 1st down. Second, it should be 2nd and 1. There we go, 2nd and 1. Shopper with a long count. 1st down and across to the 37-yard line as Austin carries the football. Matt Austin, who is a redshirt freshman out of El Paso, came in with 25 carries for 165 yards, averaging better than 6.5 yards per carry. His first carry tonight.
Yeah, brought him in here for the ISO play. They want to get the 1st down, 2nd and 1, run it right up there into the heart of the defense. And Matt Austin, a little more of a pound, a little more size than Howard Jackson, who's been in the ball game for the Miners, the tailback spot. Getting a nice little drive, being as you said here, stringing a couple 1st downs together and testing this Oklahoma defense.
1st and 10 at the 37. Bobbled the snap, got it off, and Austin is met and driven hard by Derek Strait into the turf.
Well, we mentioned the defensive secondaries, which is kind of repetitive. I've always wondered how guys say defensive secondary. It's like saying an offensive center. But anyway, the secondary not tackling very well. There's an example of wrapping up, and you got to like that form tackle.
Well, it's a tight formation, and we've got hard coverage over here, which is forced responsibility for the cornerback, and Derek Strait does just that. It's forceful on the tackle.
It's all right, Dean. Oklahoma's looking for their 3rd straight win in a row. Their 3rd consecutive straight win. What is it? 2nd down and 10 at the 37. Shopper fumbled the football loose. I think Oklahoma's got it. Mitchell battling for it.
Yeah, the officials calling 3rd down there on the spot.
Yeah.
They're going to give it back to him.
Lance Mitchell all over. He's been impressive tonight.
And that's just a throwaway play. I know Gary Nord is not happy about that. When you cannot handle that snap from center, and you drop it on the ground where John Shopper has to go down and get it. It's giving a play to the defense. And you can't make those kind of mistakes coming in here. They learned a year ago 7 turnovers cost them a chance to even be competitive in this ball game like 2 years ago. And you can't put it on the ground and hope to make 1st downs against this defense.
3rd down and 13 for the UTEP Miners, down 35-0. Crowd wanting the defense to answer again. Shopper. Incomplete and just missing was Everidge, Brandon Everidge.
Brandon said, well, I didn't know that ball was going to be so wet, and I didn't know it was going to be thrown so hard. That ball had some zip to it.
Yeah, Everidge telling Shopper, hey, tell your ball boy to dry that football off next time, would you?
Well, he's thrown the ball 3 or 4 times here to Jonas Crafts tonight. John Shopper has. Crafts has either read it wrong, he's dropped a couple of balls, and he haven't really worked to getting the ball to him. The UTEP offense, they like to throw the ball to the tight end, and I think they're going to consistently do that, but it's been a little bit of a miscue tonight.
Benacos, the punter. It'll go out of bounds. Nicely done. Inside the 15, they'll mark it at the 13-yard line. 27 yards on the punt, and Oklahoma will take over there as the 2nd quarter winds down. 3:34 remaining to play here before halftime.
I would think that the Sooners would like for Nate Hibble to be able to take this bunch 80 yards, or maybe they'd like for him to take it all the way and not take a field goal. Take it, what would that be, 88 yards and score and sit him down and play Paul Thompson in the 2nd half.
1st and 10 from the 13 for the Sooners.
And it's movement on the left side, Donley.
This isn't the NFL. You can't tell who it is.
I'll tell you who it is and won't give you the number. How's that?
Yeah, there you go. Donley in. Lance, a junior from Weatherford, Oklahoma. And the Sooners backed up a bit here. Be interesting to see what they call with 3:31 to go in the half, up 35-0. 1st and 15, the ball put back on the 8-yard line. Works in the backfield with Hibble. Ronaldo gets it. And brought down hard near the 15-yard line.
Ronaldo's one of those players that just seems like good things happen when he's in a ball game.
Well, Nate Hibble does a good job here of audible at the line of scrimmage. He's got the draw play call, and they're just looking for the alignment of the defense, and he's going to go away from the free safety who's in the middle of the field. Now Ronaldo basically just came across to the other side and set up, and they ran the draw play and popped it in there for about a 7-yard gain.
But it's a quick play.
It is. It really is.
They hand that ball into the guts of the defense.
2nd down and 8. Hibble. Clayton. Still stumbling and across the 35 down to the 30. Mark Clayton on the reception, and again Oklahoma big through the air. Weldon Cooks made the tackle.
Yes, it's just UTEP, guys, but there's a lot of people in the stands right now saying, you know what? Oklahoma may have a chance to score enough points to win a championship, you know?
Well, you've got 2 deep zone coverage, and there's 3 vulnerable areas, the middle of the field and both to the outside. Take Clayton here, he goes to the outside, he works away from the safety, and Nate Hibble got to be pleased about that throw. He throws it down there, and Clayton's trying to get to the end zone.
54 yards on the play. 1st and 10 at the 31. Play action. Hibble. Incomplete.
There's a flag about the 8-yard line. The side judge threw it in there.
Just inside the 10. Weldon Cooks was covering on the play, and I do mean covering.
Chuck Long sitting up top right now, dialing plays in for his quarterback. This ball could only be caught by one person, and it was the guy in the crimson.
That's a pretty good ride he took there.
Tell you what, guys, though, he's throwing some footballs tonight.
Yeah.
Deep balls are just terrific.
Pass interference on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Well, not throwing the deep ball, and he's shown that he can throw that deep ball tonight and stretch the defense and throw the ball down there where you open up all types of opportunities for your offense. If you can throw the deep ball, then you've got the medium range passing game, the short running, the running game, and the short passing game.
He's 11 of 15 for 253 yards. That long pass put him not just over the 200 mark, but 253 yards now for Hibble in this first half.
It's a dream for Nate Hibble because there's not pressure. He's not having to move around and buy time.
Hands off to Works on the 1st and 10. Ronaldo scoots down inside the 15 and dives to near the 12-yard line, where Chris Minio, the defensive tackle, makes the stop for the Miners.
Making the tackle is number 7, Chris Minio.
Works out. Kewan Jones among those coming back in.
Keep an eye on how Works carries the football. He protects it so well, and Cale Gundy's running backs don't fumble it very much. He's terrific at that.
Fagan, the only wideout. The pitch out to Kewan Jones. Brought down just across the 15-yard line. Akinduro made the tackle. Davin Akinduro.
Well, it seems like when they get inside the red area, they like to get Kewan Jones in the backfield because he's more of a north-south runner, as you talked about there, Dean, and just didn't have a chance to get north and south this time. Good job by the defense. Coming outside, DJ Walker, the free safety, coming over.
Loss of 2 yards on the play brings up 3rd and 8 from the 14.
3rd down and 8, ball at the 14.
Checking off to something here.
Jones and Works in the backfield. Hibble in trouble as they bring him. Nate scampers out of bounds and then threw it at the last instant.
That's a great play. I haven't seen Hibble do that very much. Listen to the crowd.
He's appreciative of being a smart quarterback. Gets out of trouble, gets out of the pocket, and he knows that once he's outside of the pocket, there's no intentional grounding. He does a good job of throwing the ball away.
Well, he may have known that in the past, but he hadn't done it.
Yeah,
you know what's also good is the crowd was smart enough to really recognize that. I mean, they really applauded because you're down there in territory where that yardage is substantial for you. You're now kicking a 31-yarder where it probably, was a 40?
Yeah, and let's see how DiCarlo handles it. He's 1 of 2 on the year. And of course, they've had problems here with blocks. DiCarlo gets this one off, though, and it is good. The 31-yarder. And Oklahoma tacks on 3 more in the final minute of the first half. 38-zip, Sooners as Trey DiCarlo, the freshman out of Carrollton Creekview High School in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, now 2 of 3 in the field goal category. Oklahoma with 49 seconds to go and up 38-0. You see the intensity has not lessened for Brent Venables. One of the things Bob Stoops likes most about Oklahoma, the program, is the consistency and the continuity he's got with his assistant coaches.
It does help you. We do have really good chemistry, continuity on our staff. I think great working relationship and personal relationships. All of it goes together. But we really do have a very close-knit staff that, and more than that though, that are smart coaches, good coaches, motivate players, and players like playing for them, and that's important.
Oklahoma now to kick it off, and of course Mark Mangino left to go to Kansas. Who's the next coach that's going to go get a head coaching job out of here, Dean? Because you know they're going to come after these guys.
Mike Stoops is the next coach to go get a head coaching job. You know, the coaches love coaching for this guy. It's easy to say for head coaches like playing for their head coaches. But there are several things. I think the first thing is that he treats them really well. They coach long enough hours to get it done, but they don't stay in and coach 18 hours a day.
Just to say they did.
Yeah, every stinking week of the year. He lets them off a substantial amount of time in the summer to go be with their families. And they say there's no pretense on this guy. He calls it like it is, and he lets them coach their positions.
49 seconds remaining in the half, and UTEP, they were down 14-0 when we hit the rain delay. That was 2:37 to go in the first, and Oklahoma's been just about flawless since that point. Not that they were playing poorly at that time. First and 10 at the 35 for the Miners. And out to about the 36.
Number 96, Flint Magruder.
Jackson carrying the ball. Magruder making the tackle. Transfer from Tennessee. Backup lineman getting some snaps here tonight.
If that plays any indication, Gary Nord is wanting to go back to the locker room for the second time here.
Yeah, and regroup. I'm just wondering if they're going to play Orlando Cruz, the second quarterback in this ball game. John Schopper, although he hasn't made any mistakes, he's been throwing the ball okay. He just hasn't been effective, and maybe they just need a spark to get something going offensively.
2nd and 9, Schopper. Intended for Minor. Incomplete. Covering was Andre Wolfo. Yeah, UTEP has indicated that they may go 3 deep in quarterbacks tonight if the game has turned out the way it has, which is 38-0, that Cruz could play as well as Omar Duarte.
Yeah, but it's strange, though. You take John Schopper. I think he's throwing the ball real well, Dean. He's getting the ball where it belongs. Receivers are dropping him. How many have they dropped?
Well, my illustrious stat man, Marty Sullivan, says they've dropped 5 already.
Well, he's 4 of 18, so that would get him up to 500.
Well, I'd say at least 3 drops based on my statistician.
He's pretty accurate, huh? 4 seconds should be the final play of the half. And that ought to take care of it. Jackson is tackled near the 37-yard line. Well, Oklahoma impressive before and after the rain delay. And it is halftime here. Let's go down to Zach Klein, who's got head coach Bob Stoops with it.
All right, Bill, thank you very much, Coach. Even the rain and lightning could not put a damper in your squad in the first half. Both offense and defense, plenty of big plays.
Yeah, we've had some big plays, and yeah, it's a beautiful night right now. The rain stopped, and it's a great atmosphere right now.
Up 38. You think we'll see Paul Thompson in the second half?
Probably.
All right, Coach, thank you for your time. Week 1 against Tulsa, 37 points, guys. Week 2 against Alabama, 37 points. Halftime of this game, 38 against UTEP. Let's send it back to you upstairs.
Don't think they'll end up with 37, huh, Zach? Don't think they'll take them away tonight. Stay with us. Halftime here. Joe Castiglione is coming out of the rain to join us. We'll visit with the Oklahoma Athletic Director when we come back here in Norman. Welcome back to the Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium in Norman at Owen Field. It is halftime, and you were watching earlier going, wait a minute, what's everybody doing back in the building? Glad to have you back. I'm Bill Land, along with Joe Castiglione, the athletic director here at the University of Oklahoma. Normally you're up here in Natalie attire with coat and tie. We got the coat and tie, but a little bit different coat. Let's talk about what happened here tonight. And
Just kind of explain the whole process, Joe, because it was unusual indeed.
Well, we knew bad weather was on its way through here, and we were hoping to avoid it. You never know with storms in Oklahoma what will happen, but the lightning got within 5 miles, and that's our cutoff point. And at that particular juncture, we had a change of possession. It so happened that we got the official over the sideline, and that was the right time to suspend play. And I want to really compliment our fans. They were so orderly. Everybody got out in plenty of time before the heaviest part of the storm came through, and everybody made good use of the time, enjoyed it, and able to resume play. The field's in great shape, and the atmosphere in here is terrific. I mean, I don't know how much we can ask for more people to stay around and be so involved in the ball game.
You're looking at some of the video of what happened during that rain delay, and yeah, when you see that water coming onto the field like that, the fact that it is drained and really had very little effect on play, just as a real tribute to the conditions here.
Well, our grounds crew, our game operations people, we know what to do when it gets to this point. Of course, no one ever takes any of these situations for granted, but we're able to work through everything and still have a great ball game.
Well, tell us a little bit about, I know you're excited here about, we want to talk about the expansion, the construction that's going on. We have some computer imaging, because if you haven't been to Norman recently, folks, here's what it's going to look like, and explain everything that's going on with the building process.
Well, it's a major process, Bill, as you can imagine. It's a renovation, restoration, and expansion all going on at the same time. It's about a $72 million project. We had a very ambitious schedule, 18 months from start to finish, which is saying something when you talk about it working through and around an 80-year-old structure. What they're seeing here is well, now they're seeing the superstructure on the east side that will support the additional 9,000 seats that we'll put in, bringing our stadium capacity up to about 81,000. Everything seems to be right on track, and contractors are working about 16 hours a day. This is our new parking garage, which for orientation purposes on the west side of the stadium, and that'll hold about 700 cars on game day.
And here's why it's all possible. Certainly tell us about the Alabama game and the presentation.
Last week we had two incredible achievements. I think one, really, and you tip your hat to the people that helped make it happen. We're out here celebrating surpassing a $100 million capital campaign goal that we set less than 2 years ago. We're still, not even 2 years into the campaign, and we're already past our goal. We had a great gift from the Gaylord family for this stadium, $12 million. Both of those announcements occurred last week. Obviously, that gift helped put us over the top, and we're still raising money. People saw the stadium. We have an indoor facility being constructed just over our shoulder.
Can we get 80,000 in there on nights like tonight?
I think we could. And there's a great beeline to the building. We renovated and expanded the Lloyd Noble Center, which you saw last year. We made improvements out at soccer. We built a state-of-the-art tennis complex for our men's and women's teams, a teaching center for golf, wrestling, track. Everyone is going to join in some sort of benefit that will be created from the funds we've raised from this capital campaign, and we're still going. Like any good thing, it's a work in progress.
Well, have you had a chance to watch any of the game, because it's been quite a performance by the Sooners tonight?
I've had a little bit in the last 5 minutes, and I think they came out of the locker room after the rain delay with a chip on their shoulder. They've been almost flawless both sides of the ball, and we've seen some great interception return for a touchdown, and great plays on both sides of the ball, and hopefully see a lot more of that in the second half.
It also seems that this football team has rallied around Nate Hibble a little bit, because, as is always the situation, quarterbacks are criticized, and even though the guy went 10-1 as a starter last year when Jason White goes down, but it seems like this whole team is going, you know what, this guy's a heck of a player in his own right. Let's go out and just show people in case they haven't figured it out. He's playing great tonight.
Well, some fans just see a player 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times, whatever it is, during the games, but coaches see players every day out on that practice field. More importantly, the fellow players see others react. And Nate has exhibited uncanny leadership skills, much like Josh Heupel just before him. Now, Nate makes a lot of things happen that doesn't meet most people's eyes, and I think the players and the coaches rally around that. And so when we faced that unfortunate time last week where Jason hurt his knee. Nate came in there and had incredible poise. And maybe that comes from the experience. Maybe it comes from confidence, not only his own, but from his teammates. Whatever it is, he has great leadership characteristics, and you need that, obviously, in a quarterback.
Well, he's done a great job. Joe, so have you and the Oklahoma crew to fight through the storm tonight. Thanks very much for the time, as always.
Hey, Bill, it's great to have you here. We've got some more game left, and I hope everybody watching has a good time. They're sure having a good time out in the stands, and a bunch of them stayed.
They're getting their money's worth as this one stretches on here tonight. Thanks again, Joe Castiglione, athletic director at Oklahoma, our guest. We'll take a break with the Sooners rolling 38-0 at the half. Welcome back to Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma, Gaylord family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. The Sooners rolling at the break 38-0 as Oklahoma came out even more intense following the long rain delay and throwing a shutout here at the half. Let's go down on the field now and enjoy University of Oklahoma marching band.
From the Division League, the Skipper's new crew, entitled A Perfect World.
Welcome back to Norman, where the Sooners have a commanding lead at 38-0 here at halftime. Dean, you know, just first half has just kind of been what Bob Stoops would have liked. Things have gone very well for him.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what he wanted. You know, Nate Hibble has gotten some confidence. The offense has clicked because of that. The defense is pitching a shutout. Nobody's getting hurt, and it's been wild. You know, I don't know if he wanted it to be quite this wild, but that's the way it's working out.
I think things have spread around very well. Nate Hibble's throwing the ball very well. He's gotten a lot of people into the action, and offense has been superb. Starting off here with the big play to Savage and the reception, and getting it down to set up the first score for the Sooners, and just taking it from there, and then the defense takes over.
Well, Antonio Perkins is such a threat as a punt returner, and he shows you here what he can do with the ball in his hands after an interception. He's a great center fielder, and he's going to become a bigger force as time goes by as a safety. And the winds came and the rain came, and we had about a 50-minute delay, and there's a bunch of your friends out there.
Yeah, a lot of guys swimming around out there in the stands. It was a kind of an eerie half, part of the first half. We finally got into it. And take a look here.
Kewan Jones there with the nice touchdown run, and this one is won by Griffin, who just slips through. And he had a terrific ball game. Oklahoma trying to establish more on the run in this game, and they were able to do that. I think, though, Gary, one thing that they didn't impress me with was being able to pound it. You know, I think they really wanted to come out and run some power football at these guys, and so far they haven't really done that.
We saw a couple of I formation plays, get the fullback in the backfield and block, try to run it up in between the tackles, and it hasn't happened as well as they would have liked. But I credit the offense. They moved the ball around very well. You know, throwing the ball, Nate Hibble's done a nice job. He's settled himself in as a cornerback, throwing the ball down the field very well, and he's found receivers that are open, and he's delivered the ball on target. I think that's the most encouraging thing. A lot of question marks with Jason White out of the lineup as a starting quarterback for the Sooners, and Nate Hibble's come in as he's done before and done a nice job.
Well, and that begs the question of what happens in the second half. What's going to happen is Paul Thompson's going to get his first action, the true freshman who they've decided to bring out of redshirt because of the injury to Jason White. It'll be interesting to see how he does because he has loads of potential, but he's a raw true freshman. He didn't even really get into the offensive game plan until this past week, so he doesn't have much experience.
Zach Klein talked to Bob Stoops at half and said, hey, we'll probably see the young man in the second half, so we'll see Thompson here come in for the Sooners possibly early in the third quarter. Well, the Sooners have a commanding lead here, 38-0 at halftime. Welcome back. Come back to normal. We'll be back with the second half in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Norman, where the Sooners have a 38-0 halftime lead as they over the University of Texas El Paso Miners. We're at halftime. We've had a rain delay in the first quarter, which is why we're here late in the ball game. We got a short delay before the teams come back onto the field. Gary Reasons with Bill Land, and Bill, your impressions of the first half?
Well, I don't know if I'm more impressed just the way OU started the game or the way they came back from the rain delay, because they very easily could have gotten bogged down. And as you've seen through Oklahoma in the first two games this year, they haven't had that consistency. Tonight they've had it offensively, defensively, and special teams. Let's find out what Gary Nord thinks, the UTEP football coach who was down with Zach Klein.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Coach, last week against Kentucky, 33 missed tackles and added an additional 300 yards in that game. Tonight, many big plays in Oklahoma, offense, defense. How do you stop that tonight in the second half?
Well, we got to make tackles. We're missing tackles again now, and then we're not making plays on offense. I think our quarterback has been playing pretty well, but we haven't been able to catch the football and we turn the ball over. You can't turn the ball over with a team like this.
You mentioned the third down conversions, just 2 of 10 in the first half. How do you plan on fixing that in the final 30 minutes?
Well, we've got to mix it up and keep them off balance and not let them know where we're coming from, and we got to get more physical. We got to play with more intensity.
Coach, best of luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Guys, UTEP with a long way to go if they want to break an ugly streak. Coming into tonight's game, the Miners had lost 21 straight games on the road to ranked teams. Let's send it back to you upstairs.
Thank you, Zach. There are a look at the halftime stats. Oklahoma with the 88 rushing yards to go with Hibble's incredible 253 passing yards, a total of 341, and no turnovers, which has got to make any coach happy, Gary.
There's no doubt about that. The offense played very, very well for the Sooners. They did exactly what they wanted to do, move the ball effectively, and Nate Hibble had a very big first half, spread the ball around to a lot of receivers, and just a very good offensive performance overall.
All right, two teams about ready to come back out to start the second half. Time of possession, UTEP. That was about the only thing in the Miners' favor here tonight, although they did get it going a little bit toward the end of the half with a decent drive. Gary Nord, a one-time Oklahoma assistant who spent the bulk of his coaching career at Louisville with Howard Schnellenberger from 81 to 94 in various assistant roles, and then here at Oklahoma for 95, a Pitt assistant at 96, and then went to UTEP as an assistant from 97 to 99 before taking over and being the WAC Coach of the Year for leading them to their first WAC title in 2000.
Well, DeCarlo got excited there at the end of the half when he knocked one through. He's early in his rookie campaign, so anything good for him, he's excited about it. He needs to kick it through he needs to touchback. Hadn't had a touchback, Gary, since he's been here.
And the kickoff to UTEP to start the second half, and a hard hit at the 15-yard line as Muthery was stopped hard by, again, Russell Dennison.
Number 36, Russell Dennison.
And UTEP will get it 1st and 10, and we'll see, call it the 16-yard line.
UTEP begins 1st and 10
So Shopper comes back out to start the second half. Shopper, first half, 5 of 19, 84 yards. There's no question that he had 4 or 5 dropped. But Oklahoma's also put some pressure on it. Crafts in motion. Shopper on the rollout, looking for a block. Scoots out of bounds at the 22, so he picks up 6 for a 2nd and 4.
Looks like the entire starting defense for the Sooners is out there, minus Tommy Harris, who's not playing because of the growing nagging injury that he has. But the Miners coming out, trying a little play-action pass here early and getting some room on the outside. The receiver is taken away. Good job by Bassey, and he comes up and makes a nice play. And hey, John Shopper's got a pretty good shiver there on the sideline fan.
You know, I think what you're seeing, though, Gary, is even though the Sooners are up 38-0, they want to establish dominance here because they played poorly in the second half against Alabama.
Shopper on the keeper for the first down and to the 30. Forward progress stop to the 29.
Shopper, the ball carrier. He was brought down by Brandon Everidge.
Well,
with the tackle.
They think they have found something, Gary, at halftime. If you're a defensive coach right now to counter that, UTEP's obviously found something they think they can do. What do you do?
Well, they're doing down the line option and just trying to read it up there. Good job by Shopper both times, bringing it to the outside the first time and then that time turning it up. Defensively, you just play your keys, play your responsibility. You talked about alignment in the first half, Dean. That's very important for a defense. If they line up correctly, if they play their gap responsibility correctly, things will take care of themselves. It's when defensive players go outside of the scheme of the defense, that's when big plays happen and problems happen for your defense.
Shopper, and now another nice move on the keeper this time. We're on the option, and John carries the football out to the 38-yard line, and a player is down as Bassey, injured for Oklahoma.
Yeah, we had a guard pull around, and Bassey came up to Phil, and he got cut block and sent him down pretty quickly.
He's holding there.
Number 13, Eric Bassey, the center player being checked on the field.
Pointing to his right leg and now his ankle area. Let's take a look here.
Let's take a look. Here's Bassey right here and see what happens at the end of the play. Something late in the play. I don't know if somebody fall on him or maybe just, you know, what if that's just something that gave away, a hamstring or a knee? I don't really know, but obviously in a lot of pain.
So Bassey with the injury somewhere on the right leg. And that'll bring in Brodney Poole to replace him.
Well, and you bring in a true freshman, and Poole is a player with terrific upside. I mean, they really like this player, but, you know, you're thinking on down the line, games coming up. You want someone back there with experience at that position, and that's an ominous look there, pulling off a guy and putting on a true freshman.
Brodney Poole played in the first half. He was in there for a few plays. Didn't fit very well, to be quite honest with you, on a few plays. Missed opportunity to make a tackle on the outside. I know of one time, and he just didn't close. I mean, a little bit of uncertainty. That's what happens when young players are out there not fully grasping the concept of the defense.
2nd and 4 on the UTEP 36. Shopper hands it off. Jackson. And he is stopped shy of the first down. Lehman and Mitchell there to make the tackle.
Mitchell's made a lot of tackles tonight. He's been all around the football. It's a good job by that linebacker, slide to the outside and scooping up on Jackson. 245-pound linebacker, a junior. Solid player inside there for the Sooners.
And they put the stop on Jackson, who came in averaging 118 yards per game in the first 2. He's got 13 carries for 25 yards here so far tonight. 3rd and 4 at the 36 now. Shopper. Ball deflected and incomplete. Getting a hand on that. And a flag is thrown also. Roughing the passer is going to be the call as Brandon Shelby was coming through. Let's take a look. Watch Shelby come from your left here.
Yeah, definitely going to come to the left. Shopper throws the ball. What he's calling is a penalty. He's hitting him to the head. That's not necessarily a roughing penalty. I think the timing wasn't bad, but he's going towards the head, and I think it's what the official sees more than anything, and he throws the flag.
Yeah, if he shows any sense of going to the body or slowing down, I don't think you see that, do you?
No, you're probably not going to see a penalty there because it was so close, and Chopper's really just trying to get rid of the football and trying to save a negative play, but the penalty causes a big play here. It keeps the Miners going. It was a 3rd and 4 situation. They had the offense stop, but now they're able to go, and they're into Oklahoma territory for the first time tonight.
At the 49, 1st and 10. Chopper play action. Crafts cannot hang on. Covered well by Brandon Everidge. But Crafts, I'm sure, would tell you if he had his hands on him, he should have had it.
Well, Brandon Everidge, we talked a little bit earlier about his inconsistent play and the fact that he has been aligned incorrectly. I think you have to give him the benefit of the doubt, though, because he's had that bad shoulder. And here we'll watch it one more time as he's back in that center field position and makes a nice break on it. But, you know, he missed a good portion of the spring. He missed a good portion of the fall, and that can really mess you up at any position, certainly back there at safety.
2nd and 10. Chopper appears to be changing the play at the line. Crowd rises in loud in the noise department. Cleveland hit back on the 49-yard line of UTEP. A loss on the play. Brandon Everidge leading the way.
Well, that's the block tackling that Brandon Everidge does. He comes up and he hits very well. I think he needs to be a better tackler, Dean. I think he needs to wrap up, deliver the blow. You're going to see him come here from the left side of your screen, down the line, the nice pitch, but the speed and the closing speed that Everidge has. When he comes through, just make a complete tackle. Don't block tackle, because sometimes good backs are going to get through those, and Brandon Everidge does a nice job of closing. He's got that inside, what I call a spillage lane from the secondary position coming inside out. Does a nice job of getting there. He makes the play, but in the long run, if you tackle like that, you're going to have problems.
3rd and 12 from the 49 of the Miners. Miner could not find the handle here as that ball thrown a little bit behind him on the look-in, and they'll have to punt it away. So the Oklahoma defense again answers the call here, trying to get its 2nd shutout in 3 games of this young part of the season.
One of the guys who had a lot of responsibility there on that series, and really who does all the time, is Lehman. And his position, his responsibility is to get people in the right position. He told me that 99% of the play for him is pre-snap. He says, once the ball's snapped, I love it. I just go play.
Benacos with a punt.
Well, that's awful.
12 yards.
And I'm looking, I don't
12-yard punt.
Wind, there's nothing. As Benacos just shanks it for 13 yards officially. And Oklahoma will get great field position when we come back with the Sooners up 38-0.
And welcome back to Memorial Stadium with the Sooners on top 38-0. Quick injury up for you. Eric Bassey right behind me, a high ankle sprain. He said he could go if needed. They'll keep him on the sideline, guys, if not needed. Right now it doesn't look like they're going to need him in the second half, but if they do need his services, he will go. Back to you upstairs.
Thank you, Zach. That's relatively good news if the sprain is not too severe. So,
well, I have the binoculars up here, and all I was looking at is the knee, Bill.
Yeah, that's the major concern. 1st and 10, Oklahoma. Pressure on Hibble, throws it away, out looking for Griffin as a safety valve. And it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 38 for the Sooners.
Didn't look like much, but again, a more mature play, a play where you don't get a negative. You throw it out to where your outlet is, even though it's underthrown, it's an incomplete pass, and you don't get the sack.
Yeah, and you throw that one so nobody can catch it. You know, you've seen quarterbacks, inexperienced ones right there, go ahead and chunk that thing, and it can be picked off and gone, and there are the numbers. That's pretty good company right there, wasn't it, Bill?
Yeah, and you talk about a guy who has not played them much. Well, Josh Heupel, we talked earlier, when you started throwing it the way he did, put some numbers going to be hard to catch, even though he was only here for 2 years.
Yeah.
Griffin, the ball carrier on 2nd down. Picks up a couple. It'll be 3rd and 8 after the gain of 2 for Quentin Griffin. And he's yet to really get on track. He has 10 carries, 59 yards, 5.9. I guess we'll take that. And Works is 6 for 28. Jones, 2 for 3 yards, but he has a touchdown.
Let's talk about this offensive line a little bit, Bill. See how well they're doing tonight. Pass blocking as well as run blocking for the Sooners.
3rd and 8 from the OU 40. Out of the shotgun, Hibble. And it is complete.
What a catch.
Boy, Trent Smith right across the middle and has the first down at the 45, maybe the 44 of the Miners.
Gary, you mentioned the offensive line, and it looked like this pocket was about to collapse around Nate Hibble. Now, he doesn't flinch. He steps up and throws a ball that is almost a strike. That's a pretty good throw and catch right there, but great job of stepping up, and you see the rocket on him when he gets his feet set and feels comfortable.
Right guard number 75, Mike Skinner, did a nice job of staying on the block to allow Hibble a chance to step up and make that throw.
Smith's second reception. Hibble again going to the air, just overthrowing Savage.
He wants a holding penalty. Contact down the field, but he's not going to get it.
And there's a flag on the play.
What's the yellow for?
There is a flag.
Pass interference on the defense, 15-yard penalty.
I think it was going to get it. Yeah.
Well, the side judge might have called it, but
no, it was the side judge.
Yeah, the back judge didn't call it at all. He was right there on top of it.
Huh. I like Oklahoma, though, coming back and going for the jugular. You know, they make a good play, come right back.
Yeah, the side judge throws that flag in from over here.
Hibble's saying, hey, man, I'm not off tonight. I'm not going to miss one by 5 yards. You got to be holding him.
I was just about to say, so for the first time tonight, Hibble misses badly. No.
Yeah.
The refs must be thinking the same thing. Wait a minute, what happened there? That kid's been perfect tonight.
For anyone out there who doesn't know Nate Hibble's golf ability, he's a scratch golfer. Just throw that in for all you golfers.
Here's Griffin. Inside the 20, has the first down. Griffin picking up 9+.
Kind of like anybody who's a scratch golfer, don't you?
On my team.
Huh? Yeah. Boy, he can hit it a mile. His brother, one of the best in the country, I guess he stayed at, I think, Georgia and played college golf.
Sounds like you and Nate have played together.
Nope, sure have.
Maybe hustled somebody
yeah,
going up and shanking him on the practice tee and then getting a few strokes. No, nothing there?
Yeah. You haven't seen me lately, Bill. Not enough pops.
First and 10 at the 19-yard line. Hibble looking for Clayton, just out of reach. But again, put it about the only place he could to where it make sure it wasn't intercepted. Last year, that was part of the problem. Hibble threw for 14 touchdowns, but had 13 interceptions.
One of the things we're seeing tonight is they're throwing the ball to the outside, to the tight end and the wide receivers, not to the backs at all. We've got Quentin Griffin hasn't caught a ball tonight, and you see the ball overthrown to Clayton to the outside.
Hey, how about that route, though? That's a really good route. The receivers are an impressive. This is their best night of the season.
I think what they're doing more than anything, Dean, is they're separating. Once they get to the defender, they're separating, and the ball is thrown outside and giving them a chance to catch it.
Second and 10 at the 19-yard line. Griffin, nothing doing this time.
Bill, a lot of the critics with this run game talk about it being slow development. You know, they talk about why run so much out of the shotgun. And I know Chuck Long and Kevin Wilson, the terrific offensive line coach, can give you answers to that. But a lot of people are just saying north and south. Get guys like number 20. Get him going north and south real quick. And that play right there makes you think the same thing.
Yeah, and they ask for Jones, and then they say, why not more of Works? Well, Griffin is a terrific pass blocker, and people wonder sometimes why Hibble hasn't had the success. You've got to have those pass blockers in there as well. It's just not as simple as some might assume. 3rd and 12 now at the 21. Just out of reach again of Smith in the end zone.
He passes incomplete.
Hibble sharp. He really is. The ball is there. It's close. Those are inches passes. If the ball's 2 inches shorter, Trent Smith makes a nice grab.
Even though the running game is not where they want it to be, what they're doing tonight in the pass game is very, very impressive. They are getting the ball off without being sacked. They're doing a lot of things in 3-step drop or a quick 5 where they can get it and not be sacked, and it gives them a chance to stretch a defense.
Take a look at Jamal Brown here on the right side doing a good job, and Quentin Griffin stepping up and blocking. That's what you need to have from your offensive line to be able to throw the football.
DiCarlo comes on for the 38-yard field goal attempt, and it is good. So he's hit both of his opportunities tonight, and Oklahoma 41-0 with 9:10 to go in the third quarter. We'll be right back here at Owen Field.
And welcome back to Owen Field here on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. Sooners on top, 41-0, only 98 rushing yards in the game. And if they need to improve that, they can go to Joe Washington, the Oklahoma leader on the ground, 3,995 yards. It's good to be back, though, isn't it, Joe?
Oh, it always is. You know, I never felt, leaving, the university, I would feel as dearly, as strongly about my my old university, but I tell you what, it's 10 times that.
A lot of fans out there are very vocal. They talk about the fact that, they're not happy with the ground game. Once Ronaldo works, getting more yards, but Oklahoma's winning. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, well, you know what? I really like this style of football. It's really conducive to my playing in latter years, but when people, think of Oklahoma, they think of the wishbone, and I can understand that because we won a lot of championships with that, but I like this brand of football. They're doing just fine.
They're putting numerous points on the board, 41, just, 3 minutes in the second half. You follow these guys on a regular basis. You said you only come to Tom maybe once or twice a year, but you do follow. Crimson does run through your blood.
Oh, absolutely. I enjoy watching. I remember early in my career in the pros, we could get very little OU football. So now, with these guys here, hey, we see it every weekend. I'm in front of a television. Normally with football, if it's good weather, I'm out doing things. But with this OU football, I'm in front of the television.
You mentioned good weather. We didn't have the best of weather this afternoon. Into this evening, a little delay. Monday Night Football against New England. I guess it was pretty nasty out there, but you came away with a big game. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, and they didn't stop the game for anything. But, I was really fortunate on Monday night. I had probably one of my better football games as a pro. I was fortunate, as I say, for people, the fact that it was on Monday night. Everybody's watching, so it was a big thrill for me. And just had one of those nights you really dream of, and the best thing about it, everybody got a chance to see it.
Joe, I appreciate your time. He had good dreams. Gary, I know you had nightmares trying to chase this guy, right?
There was a lot of problems catching that, man. He was a great back out of the backfield. He talked about his career, late in his career, throwing out of the backfield. This is a lot like this offense here for Oklahoma. They use that back out of the backfield, and Joe was a great receiver.
2nd and 6 for UTEP, and ball carried about the 26-yard line. Smith, the ball player. Ball carrier, Jimmy, a sophomore from Midland, Texas. Yeah, he'd probably be right back in there with you, Dean, telling Coach Switzer, I told you we could throw it more,
Hey,
I could catch, not just run.
He was one of the guys wanting to throw it more back then, but they did pretty well running that offense. I do have a couple of comments, though, because I was lucky enough to play with Joe for 2 years.
Sensational. 3rd and 2 here at the 26. Chopper on the rollout, incomplete, intended for Jackson, and they'll have to punt it away on 4th down. Everidge covering on the play.
Looks like Everidge might have got a tip on that ball, knocking it away. Good job in coverage, and he sliced underneath the throw by Chopper and knocks it away. The Sooners do a good job here. Stopping the UTEP. Their defense has done what they've needed to do, Dean, here in the second half.
Yes, it has. And back to Joe real quick.
Got a favorite?
Well, favorite of those.
Memory or?
Yeah. I'll wait till we finish here, but there were a lot of favorites with Joe Washington, and I can briefly tell you that people wondered about the championships back in the 70s with Switzer. It was all the #1 draft picks, and it was also the character of people like Leroy Selman and Joe Washington.
On a 4th and 2, another poor punt as it barely clears midfield. It goes out at the 46-yard line of Oklahoma. Sooners will get great field position when we come back, leading at 41-0. Oklahoma got them smiling here in Norman against UTEP in the 3rd quarter. I want to remind you that the Sooner men's and women's basketball teams with the hardwood to begin defense of their Big 12 titles, and it's just a few months away. You want to be there for every minute of the action. A limited number of season tickets are available now by calling the OU Athletics ticket office at 800-456-GO-OU. Fans can also purchase season basketball tickets at the Lloyd Noble Center East box office. For more information, visit www.soonersports.com and get your tickets to 2 of the elite college basketball programs in the country. Hibble, the throw, and incomplete. Looking for Antoine Savage on 1st and 10 at the 46 with 7:58 to go in the 3rd period. Bill Land, Gary Reasons, and Dean Blevins with you up top, and Zach Klein roaming the sidelines here at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium.
I was thinking back to some of those teams and thinking about Joe Washington. There are a lot of stars on those clubs, including guys like Tinker Owens, who didn't have a lot of character. No, I'm kidding you.
Easy
I'm
now.
kidding you. No.
Those old teammates come back and get you now. 2nd and 10 at the 46. Griffin got a blocker ahead of him and fooled everybody. Griffin just out there hiding behind Jamal Brown. It's like he was attached with a leash. Just saying, go get him, big fella. Watch this.
This is misdirection here to the right, then get behind the big offensive guard coming around. First tackle that is Jamal Brown. Find somebody to hit. Bingo, you're the guy. Look out. Oh, my goodness.
There's a highlight reel play. Jamal Brown, guys, is the most athletic player they've had in the offensive line in some time.
6'6", 310, a sophomore from Lawton MacArthur. 1st and 10, and Griffin out of the backfield now from Hibble to the 30, the 25, and out of bounds.
Well, now he's got his 30th game that the young man has caught a pass in. Good job that time throwing to him on a little swing pass.
Number 16, Walker making the tackle.
You know, big offensive tackle who can move. Jamal Brown, 6'3". Little pass block here, set, finishes the block. When we talked with Bob Stoops, he was really impressed with how well he was playing so far this year. He's kind of setting the standard for that offensive line.
And Griffin, you mentioned, that's a school record, 30 straight games receiving at least one pass.
J.D. Runnels in at fullback and Kewan Jones.
Jones, 20, 15, 10. Very close as he clipped the pylon, but stepped out at the 2-yard line.
And the reason I brought that up is that Oklahoma fans are dying to see something like that. That's the combo that they're wanting. Runnels, the true freshman, has really flattened a lot of people. And Gary, this time, Runnels goes left, toss right.
That's exactly right. Good job. Good speed route to the outside, and Jones almost gets it into the end zone. Good job that time coming over Weldon Cooks, the cornerback, and knocking him out of bounds to at least give the Miners a chance to stop the Sooners from going in.
Jones, second effort, got him down maybe to the 1. Let's see where they spot the football. As Kewan Jones, who scored earlier tonight, stopped by Kamar Jackson.
Filled that time by Kamar Jackson as a linebacker stepping up in the hole. And you know, there's not a whole lot of positives right now for Gary Nord and his football team here playing, but you come in here on a short yardage situation and at least make the Sooners kick a field goal. That would be a positive thing to come out of here. And this is a situation where they can rise to that occasion and they can build from there.
Heck of a tackle by the weak side linebacker, Jackson, that time. Jones again pushing forward. And no signal. Looks like he's going to be just shy of it.
He's the Sooners' best short yardage back and goal line back. Almost sneaks in here. Gary, you were talking about his speed down the sideline. He's one of those guys like, who were we talking earlier? Lance Mitchell, who's 4'7" and plays faster. Number 20 is under 5'8". He's 5'7 3/4. Only runs at 4.54, so he's not a speed merchant, but he plays fast.
And another inside the 1. He dives and got it this time. Jones not going to be denied. Jones picks up his second score, and it's 47-0 Oklahoma with 6:08 to go here in the third. Penalty flags littering the field. Band has already struck up Boomer Sooner. Let's see if they need to rewind.
After the touchdown, it occurred, personal foul on the defense. Penalty must be enforced on the try, half the distance to the goal line.
Guess who really wants in this football game right now?
Number 14?
Number 14, Paul Thompson. Look at the block by J.D. Runnels, 38, just clearing the way. Here's another look at it.
Well, you want to be able to play power football. This is what you got to do. Bring your fullback in there, guard pulling around, and they're always going to catch a guy who does it last. We'll shoving and pushing on both sides of the ball there after the kick. After the touchdown.
And the point after is good, and Oklahoma makes it 48-0 as the Sooners continue to lay it on.
Watch the scheme here. The guard pulls around, the fullback leads through, and Power get in there behind him. And all they needed was a yard, and they got maybe 2. Good job that time by Kewan Jones and going through and keeping his legs going and spinning for the score.
And Steven Sarubi taking over the kicking chores there, getting the point after. So everybody getting into the act, and 14 says, I got my helmet on, Coach, I'm ready. That's Paul Thompson. And
He's just looking for somebody to tell him to get ready to go.
Okay, what's the strategy there, Dean? When you're wanting to get in the game, you just hang right by the coach, you get by the offensive coordinator.
Well, I've got a lot of practice at this.
Yeah, that's why I'm directing you.
Just hand somebody else the clip, right? Huh?
Yeah, I'm not even going to answer that. Now you just try to.
You hide the starter's helmet?
Now you toss.
That's a good one.
Now you toss your own helmet out in front of the coach's feet.
Here's the kickoff. Gathered in near the goal line, and Clint got clapped. Oh my goodness, was that Dennison again?
Dennison is a very good special teams player. The Sooners have had poor kicks, still not one as a touchback, but they've not gotten any out past the 20.
You know, that's the thing that I don't understand why a lot of teams don't do is that's use that hard line drive bouncing kick, because two things, it's hard to handle when you're a returning team, and also your coverage team can get down there and make a play inside the 20. If you're always kicking it into the end zone, you're never going to make a negative play inside the 20.
Boy,
so
there's a defensive guy.
I like to go down. I like to force those plays. And when you got guys that really want to get in the football game, it's an opportunity to get in there.
I'm the other way. Kick it through the end zone, line up at the 20, and have to go 80.
Well, Gary was drooling when he saw that hit. It would just come right down the cheek. Chopper into traffic and incomplete, well covered by the Sooners secondary. Intended.
UTEP needs one of the all-time great receivers in the NFL who played at UTEP. Didn't throw him the ball much there, but you guys know who that is? Don Maynard.
Oh, yes.
Don Maynard caught him about 26 balls as a UTEPster, and then he went on into the NFL and caught him 633 passes.
I've had the privilege to play golf with Mr. Maynard, and he has a pair of the best boot golf shoes I've ever seen.
Oh, I thought you were going to say soft hands.
Cowboy boots with golf spikes on the bottom of them. I swear to goodness. And he goes out there in his shorts and his golf and his boots. Shorts and boots. And
he is a little off. He's off center.
It's a little interesting. He's an interesting person.
Yeah,
still lives out in West Texas, and
that tells me he's not a single-digit handicapper. Is what that tells me.
He has fun with the game. Is all I'm telling you.
He distracts his opponent. 3rd down and 7, ball on the 15. Another 3rd down for the Miners. Chopper completes it at the 24-yard line for Jonas Crafts, and that will be a 1st down.
Well, that's a big catch for Crafts, because he has not had a good night catching the football. Play action here, actually a little drop back, back split. Chopper's going to throw it behind him, and Crafts does a good job of going back for it and pulling it in.
Good chance for the Sooners to get a lot of reps for some of the guys who need them. They're also getting a lot of playing time for some of the youngers. Thibodeau, number 58, and Hager's getting some, and Dennison, 36.
9 yards on the play, and they're now 3 of 13 in 3rd down conversions. Hand off to Austin, and he got upended literally at the 26-yard line with 4:38 to go. Poole was making the stop, and also Dennison.
Dennison came off the outside. He contained on the play. It was made inside. Take a look at the top of the screen. Dennison is there to the outside. He swims and runs past, and there's a pretty good fill there. That's what you need to have. Your secondary come up and make tackles.
Well, I tell you what, you look around here and you see a team that's ranked 2nd in the country, and you see all these players, redshirt freshmen and sophomore, and occasionally a true freshman, and you're going, this is the 2nd-ranked team in the country with all this youth.
And depth.
Wow.
And that's the thing. I talked about Bob Stoops here in the open tonight about what he does recruiting. He recruits talent, recruits speed, puts it on the field in all different types of spots. Some of these guys play different positions in high school. A guy who may have been a linebacker, maybe a defensive lineman here in college, and a secondary person may be a linebacker.
2nd and 8, and the pass complete. Gibbons on the reception. Wilkerson makes the tackle. And Aaron Gibbons, a freshman from Sulphur Springs, Texas, getting the receiving end.
Wilkerson is someone we haven't talked a lot about tonight. A junior from Omaha. Big defensive end.
Yeah, and a first-team all-conference pick in the Big 12 in his sophomore year. 1st and 10 here. Chopper again rolling out.
Another drop.
Jonas Crafts. This has had a rough night catching a football.
He was covered by Poole, who we've talked about off and on, and Poole, again, I can't go overboard on this guy because can't tell you too much about him because they expect a ton out of him. He's 6'3", very rangy, terrific instincts. They were telling us guys the other day that he knows how to get his body flush on the ball carrier, has that Calmus knack for finding the ball. Now if he can just find out where to line up.
You got that Calmus knack. You put that in a sentence, that means nothing but good things, though, if you're Oklahoma. 2nd and 10. The 36 in the pitch. And Austin.
Gary's that a bust?
No, that was not a bust. That was actually a down-the-line option play where the defense forced, instead of reading it very quickly, instead of going down the line, he had to force and pitch it quickly, and the tailback speed just got around the corner. And the wide receiver blocking, you're going to see the pressure here on the quarterback. Going to get right into his face. They've got a little pressure scheme coming there with Dennison on the outside. Pitch and good job of blocking outside for a little while. Is that Woolfolk still at corner out there? Doing a good job of getting him down, and Teddy Lemon makes sure of the tackle.
3rd and 1. Austin, he's short. Is short at the 45-yard line where Derek Strait made the tackle.
What do you do, guys? You got to tell me before Nord makes a decision. What do you do?
Go for it. What do you got to lose?
You leave the offense on the field. There is no doubt in my mind.
You got to develop some confidence somewhere. And what's the difference between 48 and 55?
Well, they're 7 yards or less you go.
He's gone for it for twice now on 4th down this season. It's no big deal. It's going to be his 3rd attempt at it. And you need a yard, you're going to go get you a yard. It's going to be a hard yard. And this is, conversely, this is a good opportunity for the Sooner defense to step up and make a big play. Let's see who wins this short battle.
Well, very frankly, with the punting game recently, what worse could happen? A fumble. Oklahoma ball. Doesn't matter whether they recovered or not, of course, because the ball, when it was recovered, was not across the 1st down line, and Dan Cody came up with it. Gary Nord, you'd see the frustration there. To not even get the play off, to get the opportunity is what really stings.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what happens in a case like that is that a quarterback can get a little itchy, get a little concerned that you might have a linebacker leap over your center and then smack you right in the jaw.
You've been talking about golf. He got the yips, I think is what you're saying. Here comes Paul Thompson. His first game as a Sooner.
Go
freshman.
deep. Go deep, young man.
From Leander, Texas. 6'4", 185.
I tell you, just seeing him run that little bit there, the young man can run. There's no doubt about it.
Thompson.
All he did was hand the ball off and go to the outside. I can tell he's got some wheels.
Is that right? Yeah, he can run.
Great
really
athlete. Basketball and track in high school. He passed for 1,600 yards, ran for 1,000.
Known as an athlete, though, picked as the 10th best athlete in the country by some publications.
2nd and 9, incomplete, nearly picked off. Intended there for Lance Donley.
There are winning plays in football and there are losing plays in football. And Gary, which one was that? That was a losing play in football.
Well, they've been throwing this route all night and they haven't really covered it. Thompson throws outside, but this is finally good coverage. The safety snuck over the top on that one and almost got him a pick. He's throwing the ball where he needs to, but the coverage was a little different.
You got to know that safety's coming over there. I mean, you can't. That was a very interceptable ball. You could tell, though, guys, just by that first toss, the guy has a natural motion. Throws a tight spiral, quick release over the top.
3rd and 9 from the 44. Thompson again to throw. Incomplete, and Click nearly picked this one off as it was intended for Brandon Jones. Well, the best thing about this, though, is we have 1:32 to go in the 3rd period. He's going to get a full quarter to play and get rid of those jitters.
Well, if you're the quarterback going out there, if I were a young quarterback going out there, I'd like to have some confidence plays. Why don't you call some plays where he has a high opportunity to complete the pass? And really, that first play was not a high completion percentage pass. And that second one, it was well covered by the defense.
Good point.
Ferguson back to punt. And it is down in the 2-yard line. Oklahoma, great coverage that time. Hustling down there to catch the football, Jacob Rice. Rice, after 2 other players trying to get there to make sure it didn't go in the end zone, Rice is the one that caught up with it.
You know, the rule is different in college than it is in the NFL as far as punts. If you run down as a punt coverage team and you touch the ball in the field of play before it goes in the end zone, no matter if you carry it into the end zone, in the NFL, the impetus of the ball is what they call it. It would be a touchback. In college football, it's where you first touched it. So teams that are coaching coverage teams to run behind the ball and catch up to it before you touch it, you don't need to do that in college.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And they were trying to do that there. I think they were watching a little too much NFL TV.
First and 10 at the 3 for Shopper and company. In his own end zone. Incomplete. You know, Rice is the deep snapper, if I recall right.
Yes, he is.
He's the one that down the football. You talk about some hustle points there.
Yeah, and he is the freshman out of Norman. They were looking for a deep snapper. They saw him the first day he was there, and Stoops says, "You're our guy."
Well, you look at here, they're trying to get a safety. They want a big play there. They're doing a good job putting some pressure on him, and Shopper throws it away.
Good job by the defender to not crash into the quarterback. Those are needless penalties that happen quite often in college ball. Smart play.
Allen, as Eugene was talking about, 2nd and 10 now at the 3 for the Miners. Just trying to bull it out there to the 5-yard line. Matt Austin with Eric Hilary making the stop. UTEP tonight, Shopper, 107 yards passing, 8 of 28, 2 intercepted. And in the running game, the Miners, 32 carries for 70 yards. The Oklahoma defense has certainly answered its call so far. Final seconds of the third quarter.
You're all messed up after that lightning.
I hope the first half is over. Shopper completes it at the 15-yard line for a first down. Crafts the receiver. Poteet the tackler. So they got out of the big hole.
Poteet wasn't going to let anybody behind him, and in the process allowed the first down. But number 19, guys, right here, what a story, William. Michael Thompson, almost killed in a car crash, lays the year off, comes back, and what a phenomenal story and a great young man.
Incredible. A, alive, B, walking, C, playing football. Are you kidding me?
Exactly right.
And before the injury, an incredible player. First and 10 at the 15, and Oklahoma looks like they've got it. Lehman, I believe. Yeah, Teddy Lehman comes up with another big play tonight. You know, people talking about him moving into Rocky Kalma's position. He's been what they thought he would be, hadn't he?
Well, you got to stay in there as a quarterback. John Shopper's pulling out pretty quickly and trying to get back for the handoff. And the ball popped up very well and hit there. And Teddy Lehman says, "Hey, the ball's down on the ground. I'm a defensive player. It's mine." He does a good job going to get it.
Talking about pulling out, might pull him out on the sideline and just give Orlando Cruz an opportunity. Why not at this point?
10 seconds to go in the third quarter. Offense runs on quickly. Thompson again, the quarterback. And the flags and whistles. Maybe a delay of game. Didn't get it off in time as they were trying to beat that play clock.
Dead. Delay of game on the offense. Please put the game clock back to 10 seconds.
You know, I think this is a perfect example of it not being so easy that you can just walk out there and play quarterback and, all of a sudden you're going to go score. Oklahoma had everything going its way. Hibble had them in rhythm. Receivers were being hit. There were very few penalties. And then all of a sudden there you see great numbers for Hibble. But the point is all of a sudden the quarterback change, a couple of missed passes, now a penalty, and just there's no flow to it.
From the 21, 1st and 15. Griffin escaped the tackler, 10. Pushed out of bounds right at the 5-yard line.
Same play we saw earlier, the little misdirection to bring your tackle around, and he gets right in his hip pocket. I'm not sure a lot of guys on defense can see him. You're going to see Quentin Griffin get right in behind Jamal Brown and gets behind the big offensive tackle, and he walls off the inside, and Quentin Griffin's trying to get to the end zone. A pretty good pursuit by the Miners.
Gary, what you're banking on there, though, is Quentin Griffin making a defender miss it. I mean, he did it right there, but boy, down in, down out, that is a tough thing to expect a running back to do, isn't it?
It is difficult to do, but Quentin Griffin has shown that he can do that in the backfield.
And Griffin shows it to the end zone. That's right. He got over 100 yards on the previous carry. He gets another touchdown, his 34th of his career, and Oklahoma, well, Barry's smiling, whatever booth he's in. They got the half 100, 54 for the Sooners as the shutout continues, and Griffin. He made Paul Thompson look pretty good. Paul says, thank you. Now I'll get my feet underneath me.
Well, you know, you're right. Gary brought up a great point, and that was a series that does give him confidence.
And Cerubi for the point after is up, and it is good. So Oklahoma's been perfect there as well, and it's 55-0 as we end the third quarter. Stay with us. All Sooners tonight here in Norman. Griffin on the last one.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium here on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. 55-0 Sooners on top. We're now joined by Sherry Cole. Earlier we talked to Calvin Sampson, the men's basketball coach. He only went to the Final Four. You guys went to the championship game last year. An unbelievable season for basketball here in Norman.
Thank you. It sure was. It was so exciting. I think our opportunities were enhanced by what he was able to do. It was really fun to go along through that process with the men.
You had Stacey Dales leading your squad last year. It was a magical season. I mean, the expectations were high, but to get to the championship game of women's Division I basketball, I mean, that's extremely impressive.
Oh, it was tremendous, and as much as we'll miss those superstars who graduated, I'm so excited about the incoming freshmen we have.
You mentioned incoming freshmen. Most publications out right now rank your recruiting class top 5 in the country, so you lose some talented players, including Stacey, but you reload.
Right, and they'll be young, they'll make some mistakes, but I really like them. I like the way they're working. I think we've got a shot to have another really special year.
National powerhouse UConn last year, end of the season. You face them again, or face Tennessee, another national powerhouse to start the season this year. You ended national television last year, back on national television to start this season. It doesn't get any easier for you guys, does it?
No, you know, I'm excited about going into Knoxville, though. That's sort of the tradition of women's basketball, a place where more games have been won than anywhere. And so it'll be fun to go in there and take our young kids in and see what we're made of early.
Is that the idea of it, to get a true test to find out where you are early in the season?
Well, the idea was ESPN called and said, you want to play on the State Farm Tip-Off Classic on national television? We said yes.
We'll take it. And she stick through the rain, guys, so it was very nice. Sherry, I know you got to be up 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Sherry Cole, the women's basketball coach here at the University of Oklahoma. Bill and the guys will send it back to you upstairs.
Absolutely phenomenal what she's done with that basketball program that was below rock bottom, if you can get there, when she took over. Orlando Cruz, the new quarterback. They heard Dean. He's a freshman from Harlingen, Texas, out of South Harlingen High School. And he completes this pass out near the 45-yard line. Dennison is there to make the stop for the Sooners. Minor, the receiver. And Oklahoma is in the first minute of the fourth quarter with a 55-0 lead. And the Miners moving the football a bit. It'll be a 1st and 10 at the 47.
I think you're going to see a lot of tackling opportunities here in the latter part of this game, because I don't think Gary Nord's real interested in throwing this thing up for grabs and turning the thing over again. A good way to run some clock, keep your guys in bounds, and throw some high percentage short throws and make Oklahoma tackle you.
Well, Oklahoma's taking advantage of 4 turnovers tonight for 27 points. Keep it on the ground, and you might recall coming in, they got 27 points on turnovers in their first 2 games total. Tonight they get it on 4 turnovers, so been big, big, big.
Holding penalty against the Miners here. Going to sort out what the Sooners would like to do with it.
13:33 remaining, and a visit.
Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, repeat first down.
Sooners have, under Bob Stoops, been a good turnover ratio team, and tonight they've not committed one.
That's a pretty good shutout there, 58-0 under Bob Stoops. This is the largest one. That's this not this one. They're approaching that.
I think, yeah, they want to score with Paul Thompson, but more concerned defensively. They want that 0 next to UTEP. 1st and 20, the 37-yard line. Cruz the pitch.
Whoa, what a play by Michael Thompson.
Zipped up from that.
And that's the one thing that he has lost. It's a half step. He was just a terrific prospect when he came up playing the first day he got here in the corner. But that wreck really wrecked him up. But watch this streak, huh?
Right through there, going to do a nice job getting low inside, coming from his safety spot. Come up and hit. That's what you got to do as a free safety.
From Bristow, Oklahoma, junior. Honorable mention all conference pick as a sophomore, and of course missed all of last year with the redshirt process after the horrific accident. And an interception, Oklahoma. Touchdown Sooners. Michael Hawkins. And Oklahoma hits 61.
Michael Hawkins just laying in the weeds. Too deep zone coverage, and he's just laying back in his zone, and quarterbacks think he's going to have a quick out here, but Hawkins steps up right in the path of the football and just takes it to the house about 45 yards. Excellent job at time of reading the quarterback's eyes and breaking up on the throw.
It was a huge day when they got this kid to sign at Oklahoma. One of the biggest commitments they got all year.
Out of Carrollton Turner High School in Texas, and another turnover, another 7 points. So tack that on to that total that was 27 as Oklahoma gets a 5th turnover for yet another touchdown, 62-0. There it is, 62-0. Hawkins enjoying and celebrating on the sideline with the Sooners up 62-0.
He saw his picture up on the big scoreboard too. He knew he made a good play.
I want to remind you, the Sooner Video Season Ticket is a must for every fan. The Sooner Video Season Ticket's a highlight tape of every game during this season. Yeah, that'll probably be on there. Each 2-hour tape comes complete with plays, replays, post-games, notes, stats, and more sent directly to you each week for 12 weeks. Sooner Video Season. And to order 888-234-9350. The kick returned by UTEP out to the 25-yard line. Evans on the return.
The Miners have had major problems tonight with 5 turnovers and 7 penalties. The penalties going for 84 yards.
Well, those 5 turnovers, Dean, 34 points, 2 of them directly for touchdowns.
Where does Gary Nord go from here?
Back to El Paso if he's lucky. He's got to be wondering at this point. You know, maybe we don't do anything more tonight. Maybe there was a message being sent when that game was held up for over an hour in the first quarter.
Well, I'll tell you where they go next week. They've got their first opening conference game with Hawaii. They have them at home, and you know, there's going to be some soul searching going on there. And it's the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. They throw the ball around the field quite a bit. You know, they get back in their conference, and they'll fare a lot better in the conference. They were picked as low as 8th or 9th to finish in this conference this year. I mean, in the WAC conference this year. It's not going to be an easy year for this football team. They've got to find some positive things out of this game if there are any for them. I look forward to what's going to be probably a tough WAC schedule.
Matt Austin carried it 8 yards, makes it 2nd and 2. And the whistle stops it here. Yeah, I guess last year La Tech was picked to finish 9th. They won the league. So Gary Norgan said, well, maybe there's that. But Louisiana Tech looked great today. They've already beaten Oklahoma State. UTEP, after losing by 60 to Kentucky and giving up 77, and here we sit at 62-0. It's going to be a tough week to get those guys to think they can play with anybody.
Yeah, it is, but you know, you go into a conference, as you mentioned, that is not strong. It has a couple of teams that are pretty nice, but you get a little confidence. I mean, I don't think you look at this club. This is a well-coached club, believe it or not. Nord does a real nice job with them. They go out and they play well in a couple of games, gain some confidence. I think they can do it.
Well, when you look at their schedule, the first couple of games, they had Sacramento State, which they did win, and then they go to Kentucky, and then they had 77 points rung up on them there. That was the game they probably thought we could compete in Kentucky a year ago. Hey, they didn't win a ball game. So now they're They come out and they beat the Miners this year, 77 points. Real shocking, but you try to throw that one out the window and go to the next one. You get Oklahoma on the schedule at the beginning of the season. You know they're there. Do you think that's going to be a win for you at University of El Paso? Probably not.
Yeah.
So they're coming out here. Hopefully they come out healthy. They just got to get refocused for their schedule.
Cruz to throw it, and nearly picked off again in the Sooners secondary as Poteet was the man that had a shot at it. So Orlando Cruz not faring much better than the starter Shopper. Cruz had thrown 3 of 7 coming in here for 42 yards and a touchdown. And Cruz tonight 1 of 3 with a 1 interception.
Couple of finals in of interest, guys. UCLA over Oklahoma State 38-24. And Arkansas over South Florida, the team the Sooners play in 2 weeks, 42-3.
The Sooners have next Saturday off as they get ready for South Florida. Perkins, fair catch at the 27-yard line. We'll take a brief timeout. Stay with us. It's Oklahoma 62, UTEP 0. Welcome back to Owen Field in Norman. The Sooners rolling 62-0 over UTEP, the Miners of El Paso. And it's 1st and 10. Ball on the 27 for the Sooners. Thompson hands it off. Jared Estes getting his first carry of the night as Akinduro makes the tackle. And Estes out of Wichita Falls, Hirsch High School. As we look, we'll have a chance to talk about some of the other action around the Big 12. Latest score that we have from Nebraska, Penn State. Penn State beating the Huskers 26-7 in the 3rd. That's at Penn State. Tough day for the conference. Thompson. Incomplete. Dean mentioned earlier Oklahoma State losing. Colorado got beat by Southern Cal.
Missouri was losing earlier to who was it? Ball State?
Bowling Green.
Bowling Green, not Ball State. Ball State's basketball team is good. I don't know that in football they'd be beating Missouri.
Paul Thompson there on a little roll-out pass, play-action pass. Shows that he can throw the ball on the run. Still off target on the pass.
3rd and 6 of the 31. And complete at the 43-yard line to Will Peoples. Sophomore from Humble, Texas. And Thompson will move the chains.
A quick slant pass. Good job that time throwing the ball to the outside. Peoples doing a nice job coming in and receiving the football. Thompson pretty good zip on that pass.
First completion for him. And one more score. Iowa State came back to beat Iowa 36-31. And
Cardiac Kids.
Dan McCarney carrying the Big 12 banner high.
He's had their number, hadn't he, at Iowa?
Done a heck of a job. 1st and 10 and complete to Donnelly at the 39.
Hey, guys, that was the greatest throw for a loss of 4.
Yeah.
What was it?
It was a loss of 2 yards, I think.
That was a perfectly thrown ball.
Let's talk a little bit about why he is in the game and what the thought process with the coaching staff, Dean, because earlier in the week it was we want Nate Hibble to get every snap.
Well, you can't do that. I mean, you just can't do that. You've got to have a backup quarterback. And right now, Brent Rawls was expected to be the backup quarterback. He has a thumb ligament problem, had surgery, and he's not ready to go. So you don't know when he's going to be ready. They were hoping that he would be ready for South Florida, and I understand he won't be ready then. And so not knowing when he's going to be ready to go, you just can't afford to go on down the road into Missouri or Texas and not have a guy that's had some snaps. You know, it's one thing for Paul Thompson to have to play after getting to play some, but it's another, Gary, if you have Rawls not ready to play and you get down to the second quarter of the Texas game the way they did last year and the first quarterback goes out and you turn around and you say, oh my goodness, you got to take this kid out of red shirt.
That's exactly right, and you have to get some preparation there. Quarterbacks go out there, they're just like any other player. The repetition is what's key for them to be successful. If you get them in the ball game in a good game situation where it's competitive, it may not be a Texas defense they're facing, but really a chance to get out there and play. That's what they're going to need. And you know, the thing about Paul Thompson, you know, they called his dad, they talked to his family, they wanted to let his family know what they were thinking about this young man. And I don't think that Bob Stoops would just burn a redshirt year for a young man unnecessarily. He really thinks that Paul Thompson, that he would feel comfortable enough if something happened to Nate Hibble that he could be one play away from being the starting quarterback for the University of Oklahoma.
Noah Allen is another true freshman who has really played well, and Paul Thompson was the one who got the nod by just a little bit.
Ferguson to kick it away on a 4th and 29. And a fair catch by Givens. And UTEP will get decent field position with 7:41 to go.
You know, Bill, one only other thing I would add to this mix is that there was some question about whether the young man would want to play. And trust me, not many kids want a red shirt. I think he would have preferred a red shirt, but in this situation, you telling me that you've got a chance to be the backup quarterback at this time on a program that's thinking it has a chance to go play for a championship, and at the same time you're getting a head start, if you will, on Brent Rawls, on Noah Allen, on the incoming alleged superstar that's coming in from high school. Now you're not going to want to go play? Well, sure you want to go play.
It's a long season. It's a grind. The young man will have, probably at some point, will have to go out there and perform as the #1 guy, and they may have to expect him to finish a drive, to take the ball down the field, or to win a big ball game.
Right.
He's not ordering the post-game pizza. He might have been talking, though, to Trent Smith, who might be the best interview on this team. But we have a great comment from Trent Smith talking about why they need to run the football more here at the University of Oklahoma and take care of those linemen.
When you have linemen that all they do is pass set all day, I mean, that's not what they want to do. That's no fun for those guys. I mean, they want to get out there. They want to kick somebody in the butt. You know, they want to get after it. And they want to roll around in the mud. You know, that's what they're made to do. And that's what they like doing. And whenever you don't let them do that, you know, they get sad. And they don't want a sad lineman.
Sad lineman.
Trent is so smart. He gets in the middle of a sentence and he knows he's already kind of got that sentence taken care of. He'll just find some way to warp it a little bit.
What a guy. What a great player. Just a neat individual to be around.
Hate to see Jamal Brown sad.
I would too.
Oh my goodness.
Especially if he's sitting right next to him.
You know who might be the second best interview on this team? Number 14.
Paul Thompson.
Oh, I mean, the kid's unbelievable for a guy who just stepped on campus, articulate, calm, thinks about what he said. Oh, yeah.
2nd and 12 of the 37. Cruz still the quarterback for UTEP. Hands it off and swarmed at the 41-yard line.
Number 17, Emmons, the ball carrier.
Emmons, the carrier this time for UTEP, where Lynn Magruder makes the tackle. 6:46 and counting as the clock moving here, and Oklahoma with a 62-0 lead. Week off before South Florida and then Missouri, and by the way, Missouri did fall to Bowling Green. That is a final, so Big 12 took another hit there. Third and 8 at the 41 for the Miners. Smith just shy of the 45-yard line. Well, some good news around the Big 12. Mark Mangino did get his first victory today, albeit 1AA Southwest Missouri. I'm sure he's not picky, 44-24. Congratulations to him. That is a tough, tough job to take over in a league that is getting better all around you.
It's been a difficult start for it, huh?
Yeah.
Offensive line coach gone after a couple of games.
4th and 5, the punt. Oklahoma will stay away from it. Perkins had a notion and then backed off, and at that point got a UTEP roll for 51 yards for Benacos as he finally gets a break. And Oklahoma will start deep in its own territory.
Paul Thompson saying, "Don't put me back here. Where, can't do anything." That's so important. Field position, so important in play calling.
You want more on the Trent Smith show, Dean, and why he came to Oklahoma? Well, let's find out from Trent.
I just want to win championships. That's what I came to Oklahoma to do. That's what it's supposed to happen. I didn't come to Oklahoma to lose to Texas. I didn't come to Oklahoma to lose to Nebraska or anybody else. I came to Oklahoma to play in those big games, to make the play when it counts, and to walk away with a smile on my face. That's the whole point.
Smile tonight. He had a couple of receptions for 24 yards, and what a weapon he is for this Sooner team.
He's about 6'4.5", and he's gotten bigger every year. Came in about 215, and I think Trent told me at the beginning of camp that, I think he was right at 240. And he's got the moves, he's got good speed, he's become a better blocker, and he just has some of the softest hands that you'll find on any player. And when he came in, Bill, as a true freshman, I just felt that stardom awaited him, and one of the few times I've been right.
Yeah, he is having a great career. Works was tackled for a loss on that play. It'll be 3rd and 12. And you see Brent Walls, he is the quarterback with the injured thumb. They don't know the time schedule as far as when he'll be able to come back and really go full tilt in practice and how effective he'll be, and that all figured into that decision to take the red shirt off of Thompson. From his own end zone. Thompson completes it to Peoples, and he got the first down.
That's an impressive play for a young quarterback. Rolling through his end zone, and that's hostile territory because you don't want to get caught back there, but he throws a strike, rolling to his right, gets a first down to the outside.
And even at 62-0, you don't want to give up the safety and ruin that defense's shutout. You want to face those guys.
True freshman, you wouldn't be very popular. Perfect throw. Perfect throw. Hey, there's Will Peoples. You talk about a guy with some athletic ability. This guy's vertical about 40 inches, and I think he had the longest broad jump on the team, so he has some explosiveness. Bad snap.
And Thompson makes the most of it.
That's what a guy like that gives you. Bob Stoops told me a year ago when he got this kid committed, he said, people are going to be surprised at how good he is. A lot of people around the country don't know what type of player. Maybe he was under-recruited. But he's a run-pass guy that has terrific instincts. And, he's one of those kids, Gary, you look at and you say, this guy's got a real good chance. God gave this guy a pretty good chance.
I saw his first handoff as a collegiate quarterback, and just how he finished the play, I could tell he could run. And he showed it there, obviously, on the quarterback draw.
2nd and 2. Oh, loose one.
I think he was down.
I think so, too. Yeah, they've indicated the ball was down.
No turnovers so far tonight. Has to be pleasing.
No, and Oklahoma, of course, with the 5 turnovers. Here's another look at the run. Jones.
Kewan Jones just running with power. He's got that low center of gravity, kind of like Quentin Griffin. Do you think he's a little more of a speed runner, though, Dean, or?
Than Quentin?
Yeah.
More of a burst runner. He's more of a north-south runner. There's Travis Wilson we're telling you about earlier.
And Wilson. And, of course, with the Oklahoma fans, and those that are still here with 3:07 to go, know everything about everybody. You can hear the buzz as soon as he caught the football, couldn't you?
Travis Wilson is a guy that, I mentioned kind of being high on Trent Smith when he first came in. Trent made a bigger splash than what Wilson is doing so far. But I'll jump out there and say real quickly that the guy you're looking at right there is going to be a star.
And he is out of Carrollton, Texas, also out of Creekview High School. And the first down and on the ground. Total yards tonight, well, it's just about not quite as lopsided as the score, but might as well be. Look at that. 5:01 for Oklahoma, 2:18 for UTEP.
Well, Stoops wanted it to be crisper. He wanted to run. He didn't want to have Bill, were you saying 5 turnovers a week ago?
Yeah.
And then you have one of the worst performances in a kicking game you can ever remember around here, and he wanted to clean that up, and I think they've been flawless there.
2nd and 6 and complete.
And the first down.
Yep, another first down. Smith made the tackle, Moses the reception.
Pretty good throw, guys.
Well, here's what Thompson's got to live up to with the national championships. 7, the latest in 2000, 37 conference titles and 22 bowl championships in Oklahoma. 2 minutes away from going 3-0 with its second shutout. Jones brought down at the 25-yard line, got the first down though.
You can tell the difference in him and Works and Quentin Griffin, because when he gets through that line and has 3 or 4 defenders, he doesn't bounce it outside. And not saying, you know, I like the guy who's going to go north and south and make sure he gets you that extra 5 or 6, but then you have that different flavor who's going to jump outside and give you a chance to go the distance. So Oklahoma has it either way.
Matt Elwood stopped him that time. 1st and 10 at the 25. Thompson's pass incomplete, intended for Travis Wilson again. That stops the clock with 1:32 to go.
Well, Dean, let's kind of do a little report card here on this Oklahoma Sooner football team. Let's talk about the quarterback position, Nate Hibble and Paul Thompson. First of all, your thoughts on them tonight?
Well, I thought Hibble had his best performance as a Sooner, and it was one when he needed to really play well. I think he's trying to win the coach's favor and the crowd's favor, if you will.
2nd and 10, and Jones.
I thought he was terrific. I thought his long ball touch for the second straight game was wonderful. I thought his leadership thought he made the right check. So I think if you look at his performance, it was an A, and he didn't have to use his legs. And, you know, he's not going to beat anybody by doing that. So he had the luxury of that not happening. So it's a night where he should really look good.
And play within the context of the offense. Now, the offensive receivers and the running backs, I think the offensive receivers and receivers played extremely well for the Sooners tonight. I'd give them an A definitely, because they caught the ball down the field, and he spread the ball around very well tonight. So those guys all get a good round of applause. I'd grade them an A for sure.
Jones, the handoff as we go inside the minute mark. And here's the point that you've got guys who have been anxious to play. They want to score, by golly. Bob Stoops does not want to run up anymore. Or if they score and he goes for 2, maybe I'll be a liar. But I don't think they want 70. But on the other hand, you want this young man to get the experience of doing what you would want in a tight situation. You don't know when he's going to play again. So Thompson to throw. And complete Wilson. Touchdown Oklahoma.
That'll be an interference call on UTEP, and it will stand. And that will be a touchdown combination that you might see around here.
There was pass interference on the defense, but the penalty.
You might see that quite a bit in the future.
So Paul Thompson gets his first touchdown pass of his career. Travis Wilson gets his first TD reception, and Oklahoma makes it 68-zip.
Good strike this time by Thompson, throws it inside to Wilson. Good effort there after the catch, and first passing touchdown here for these two young men. Couple of young players, both freshmen, coming in here and doing real well late in this ball game, and that's what you want to find out. They can execute when they get on the football field.
Nothing sloppy there. It's that same over-the-top quick release throw that was a strike, and Stoops downing it.
Not kicking the extra point.
Not adding another point, just simply downing it here as 27 seconds to go, and that's Bob Stoops' way of saying, hey, I don't want to run up the score, but I want my guys the opportunity to run plays that they need to run.
Yeah, and some people won't understand it, and some will. And I think Gary Nord will.
Well, let's finish the report card here. Let's talk about the offensive line and how well they performed tonight. You know, Vince Carter, the sophomore center up here, I think he did very well, holding down his spot on the offensive line. Jamal Brown is the guy who stands out in my mind.
Yeah, I thought he's played better than the rest of them all season long, and yeah, I thought that he moved around very, very well. I think that their pass protection was outstanding. They didn't appear to bust much. I thought they moved well on plays where they had to pull. I thought their run blocking overall, though, was no better than good. you know, it wasn't exceptional.
There were times when they had holes. There were times when the guards came around. The backs read real well. I think the backs read the blocks that they had. Weren't necessarily gaping holes continuously.
Yeah, you'd like to see them jump off the line and slug them in the mouth, wouldn't you, Gary, occasionally against UTEP?
Yeah, you'd like to do that. You'd like to power them down there, but they didn't really do that. I don't think that's really the offense that they have here. And if they're wanting that, I think it's going to be slow to change.
Kickoff goes out of bounds with the penalty flag thrown.
What about defense?
Well, on the defensive side, let's talk about the defensive front first. And the biggest thing is obviously that I think that Tommy Harris didn't play in this ballgame.
Right.
And, you know, the groin injury that's kind of been nagging him has a chance to heal. He'll have the week off next week, come back again at South Florida in 2 weeks, and that'll give him a chance to really get back there and fire it up.
So that's an A+ right there that he didn't have to play.
He did not have to play. That was something that Brent Venables, when we talked to him, was saying, hey, if he doesn't have to play, we'd like to keep him out of the football game. And that gave other guys a chance to get some experience in there. I think Wilkerson showed that he's back, and I think Dan Cody really made a mark there, knocked the ball down one time, and made some good plays on the outside.
Then you go to the secondary. I thought that overall they had an outstanding game. Everidge seemed to be in better position than he's been in, and you got all the turnovers. Most of those were forced by the aggressiveness in the secondary. Overall, I thought the secondary had an outstanding game, and maybe the most improvement was in the kicking game.
Well, there's some plays on both sides of the ball. Obviously, the Sooners had to be happy. The kicking game went well. They solved the problems they had from a week ago. At least they didn't have any of those big mistakes. I think overall, this football team showed that they are probably deserving of their rank in the polls right now, and they're going to get better defensively with the speed that they have on the field. They can be one of the best in the country.
Bob Stoops getting congratulations from former OU offensive coordinator Gary Nord, and 68-0 is the final, and I feel sure some of that discussion there is concerning that final score and then the downing of the football by Stoops. Nord seems to be cool with it. Well, fans are cool with it. 68-0. We'll come back and wrap it up here in just a moment and start our 3-hour post-game show. No, just kidding, Gary. Stay with us. Well, hold on. We'll be right back.
So you're going to want to keep an eye on that. Some other scores: Oklahoma, UTEP. I'm going to go out and say the UTEP defense is not very good. They gave up 77 to Kentucky, 68 to OU.
We're looking for a coordinator.
And